Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I'm Bobby, also known as Blazzinbob, and I'm joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good to hear. And also, once again, joined by Killnine.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. You had a good time the other day when that guy came up to us in Altaric Valley and was like, love the show. And you were like, I was on it the other week.
Yeah, we were defending Stonehearth Bunker or whatever, and he came in and was like, oh, Bob, what's up, man?
Yeah. I get,
You're like,
Altaric
he was talking
Valley,
to me, I think.
Altaric Valley, it happens a lot. It's great. And people are so nice. I've had very few in-game people that are rude to me. That's usually just the YouTube and Reddit comments. But yeah,
as is tradition.
It's pretty funny. But also, for the first time on the show, we have BatGasm. How are you doing, brother?
Hello. Check 1. Check 1, 2. Does everything sound okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right.
Tell everybody a little bit about like what you do. You're a streamer. You stream Classic WoW, right?
Correct. I've been streaming 4.5 years. Started streaming April 9th, 2020. I've been making content since forever. YouTube content 2009 onward, just on and off. I make cartoons. I just always tried to make stuff, some with more success than others, but started streaming Classic WoW in 2020 and almost every night since. So
yeah, I streamed, like I was an affiliate way before Classic came out, but it was from Overwatch. And like Overwatch was a real stressful thing to stream because you can't really talk to chat. You got to be like on comms the whole time, and you're like, right. Get you. And like you're basically doing that the whole time. And so I just didn't really get into streaming that much. And then Classic WoW, I just never felt like it was worth it for me to do it. I did the show and I streamed the show, but then Hardcore came out. Yeah, and it was like
unlimited content yet.
Yeah, it was like I could have friends with me while I was playing, and I got more and more comfortable with being live and just being on camera, and yeah, that was what got me in. So yeah, so you stream as SoD at the moment mostly?
Yep. Content. I wrote some notes here. Hold on, let me pull up my notes. Yeah, just I'm guild leading, doing mainly SoD. We went through phases, so obviously we did a lot of hardcore as well. We did that even on Bloodcell Buccaneer, so a good 6-7 months of Bloodcell, and then into official. That was content. But once SoD came out and killed hardcore, pretty much it's been SoD for the past year and a half. First time guild leading, like real guild leading. First time raid leading. First time main tanking.
Oh boy,
which
man.
I shouldn't do. I watched a pirate software video, and he was like, "Don't do these things if you're one of the others." And it's like, I do all three of those, right? So, and I've never done that before, ever. So it's been like a huge fucking like crazy experience. So, but it's been good. So yeah, mainly SoD, little sprinkled in of hardcore lately. Again, trying to get the rust off for November, because it's been a while, like dying to stupid stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, we're gonna start off the show. I like to start the show off by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. I'd like to mention that we stream this show live on twitch.tv/Blazzinbob. That's BLAZZINBOB. Come join the fun. If you want to join our Discord, if you want to get any of our links, you can just, Patreon, whatever. You can go to warcraftreloaded.com. They're all there. And then if you want to get a Rested XP guide, you can check the notes below, or you can go to warcraftreloaded.com/restedxp. Then, and then what else? Okay, we're going to start off with doing the comment of the week. We normally do voicemails right after that, but I'm going to put voicemails down in the discussion section at the end for this week. So we'll do the comment of the week, then what have we been up to in Classic? Then we'll do the news, and then we'll do the voicemails at the end to spark conversation. So that's going to be the show. So Mel, if you'd like to, you want to read the comment of the week? I copied and pasted it down at the very bottom. Make it easier for you to read.
That's okay. I can read it.
Perfect.
I'm not as old as some of the people on this show, you know.
Back in my day.
Okay, it's from Shady Cat 8898. He or she says, I've come to learn of 3 types of players around PvP. 1, those who don't want to touch it. 2, those who like it when it's fun and hate it when it's bad. These make up a lot of the PvP servers and are why we see PvP servers shrink over time. They start off hyping up PvP servers with rose-tinted glasses, but over time, the flaws of vanilla world PvP wear them down. And then 3, those who love world PvP despite its issues. These are the only people who play world PvP properly. The problem with vanilla PvP is the third group of players can break the game. The guy spawn camping someone who is too low level to fight back is technically playing the mode correctly. It's horrendously toxic and causes more players to quit than it helps. But it's what the mode allows. Vanilla world PvP is inherently self-destructive. Why would Blizzard cater to this group when they can actively hurt the game? Unless we want only PvE players, PvP enjoyers need to accept that something like War Mode is a matter of necessity. War Mode needs participants, vanilla PvP needs victims.
Yeah, so I think he's right with the 2 category that a lot of people love it when it's going good and hate it when it interrupts whatever they're trying to do. I've said many times I'm a true PvP lover, and I'm the type of guy that's just going to be like, well, we can't do this right now unless we can get more people to come help us. Let's just move on and do something else. That's just, I think that's a cool aspect of the game. Like, they own this spot right now.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, 100%, man.
But yeah, I mean, I don't like War Mode at all. I kind of like the way that it was explained Turtle WoW did it, where you have to turn it on and it stays on from that point on. But then you're going to get griefed by the people that just like flag themselves and don't ever pick that option. And so it's just the same as on a PvP server, turning it on and then getting, attacked at, at your home city and stuff. So I don't know that I like that either, but I don't know. I've always thought you should be able to attack somebody like 5 or 6 levels lower than you or whatever, but that would cause other problems where they could probably heal somebody that you're trying to fight. I mean, but still, though, I always thought it was just kind of lame. But honestly, I'm sorry, I'm going on a big monologue here. I should let you guys talk. But honestly, guys, yes, they can play the game that way. I like to think of it more RP, though, and I'm not going to pick on somebody that's not my size. You know what I mean? Unless I know that person to be another person that I hate for some reason, right? Like, I know it's so-and-so's alt. Then I might get a little gross, but I just walk by them. I don't attack them. But the people that do, yeah, they're playing the game that's allowed, but it's slimy and gross, and it's just like,
That's why I like it.
But those are the people that ruin it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he's saying is like, those are the people that ruin it for everybody. Like, if nobody was playing that way, if everybody had a code of honor that they were playing under, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But people don't do that. They kill the people they can. And for
about half our group does that too. They're like, Red is dead. Red is dead. I'm like, guys, leave him alone. They're like, I'm only gonna kill him once. I'm like, okay, fine. Everybody's got their own code. It's like, well, I only kill the lobies once. I never kill more than once.
Yeah, I'll kill them once, and then I'll try and make them kneel and bend the knee, and I'll do a slash point, and I'll slash kneel and slash point. It's like just to communicate it. And we have a whole content about it, and just how many people we have a whole Game of Thrones thing going on in stream and guild and stuff. So if they bend the knee, then we let them go, and then we won't ruin someone's gameplay experience. Like, if we're not going to sit there and camp for hours and hours and hours and stuff. But like,
so what you're saying is you only go half dickhead. You never go full dickhead.
Right. Never go the full dickhead.
Never go full dickhead. Okay, got it.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's definitely like a full-on like code of ethics and code of culture that each individual person has. Like, I'm definitely a kill them once, and unless they're going to attack me afterwards, maybe we'll have like a few back and forths. But I usually don't kill anybody that's like gray to me, for instance, unless they're stealing my quest mobs. Then all bets are off. If you're trying to tag my stuff, you're dead.
This is Killnine. We even stayed after we helped Mel get her benediction. We stayed and helped this poor Alliance guy. And then as soon as he got his benediction and put it on, Killnine just killed him.
Yeah. Like, it's the tax, man. You got to run back for us helping you. You're not even our faction.
I also think, just touch on, I think that like classic PvP is just from the foundations is inherently different than 2024 retail PvP. Like the early EverQuest, I think, had something like what Bob was saying. Like in EverQuest, I think if I remember right, you could only attack people 6 levels below or above you. There was like
was that a thing
threshold
in EverQuest?
I'm pretty sure. And there was only 2 PvP servers. I was on one of the 2, Valenczek and the old PV EverQuest players. But yeah, there you could only attack. Maybe it was 3 levels too, but there was a level. No, that's WoW mobs. But there was a level threshold where you could attack, I think. But I think MMOs, like classic MMOs, were like not designed around always in-game rating and PvP and stuff. And so I think classic MMO PvP is like what you're saying. Like what's cool about it is that you're shitting on people. That's what it's about. Mm-hmm. Like taking over. Someone was in my chat talking about upset that they took over Menethil Harbor and they couldn't get on the boat because the Horde were killing them. And I think that's what it's about, though.
That's cool, though. Yeah,
you took over an area for a little. It's not forever. It's for a couple hours.
Right.
Yep, that was one of the actual cool parts about Phase 2. The uncool parts was when you're trying to go to Dire Mall and a group kills you 3 times and then passes you on to the next group that's just a little bit away from them. And that was, them taking over the boats and zeppelins and stuff. I mean, that was neat, and that was
like RP. Fun. Like you said. Now, as much as I say that, I will say that every day I say I'm going to stop playing PvP servers. I'm going to go to PvP every day, and then.
So I don't know. I love the kind of danger. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. Going back to that kind of like code of ethics sense, I think doing something like taking over like an area, as long as you're not doing it in like a really cheesy way where you're on like some place that people can't actually get to, like those hunters that were on top of the
Searing Gorge entrance
in Searing Gorge that like you literally can't do anything about it because like you walk up, you get trapped, and then they all 3 chimera shot you and you're dead before you can think. But having like a war where like Alliance could theoretically come up with enough people and kill us, we're not doing anything realistically cheesy. We're winning in numbers. I think that's great for the game.
Yep.
But the second you start getting to those like buggy spots and when people were in Tenaris on top of like the little arena thing in Gadgetzan and killing people up there where like they wouldn't aggro the mobs or whatever for whatever reason, like that stuff is just lame and cheesy and like find something better to do. But like if you're gonna have a group of people and take over an area and like Alliance could come kill us out if they wanted to, that's fine.
That's why I loved the guards in Ultima online. Like the guards,
bro, nice.
They would just warp right to you as soon as you did an action. They would warp to you and instantly just smack you down, and like that was great. That was awesome. I wish that would happen in like Tannerus and stuff like that, because it does get annoying. Like the PvP that happens during the Blackrock event is so dumb. Like we're just wasting everybody's time. Nobody's getting honor. Like I know you're just trying to make it so we can't do it, but why? Like you're not taking it over. You're
shitting on people.
Yeah, but they're dying just as much as we are. They're not actually taking anything over, and they're just
true.
Yeah, it's just but then again, I get sucked into it, and then all of a sudden we haven't started for 10 minutes, and my team's going, Bob, come on. And I'm like, I just want to kill him one more time. I got 5 and he has 6. I want to at least make it even before I leave. Like, and so I get sucked into it too, but
I feel like war mode just makes it, I don't know, nobody's ever going to be like, ooh, I'm going to turn on war mode and go quest, right? Like,
and the only benefit you get from having war mode on is getting there's leveling faster, I believe, in retail, right? There's no other benefit.
Yeah, right. I think it's
what you're leveled, who cares?
Yeah.
If you got more drops and stuff, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like it would just be like you might as well just go into a battleground if you want a PvP then, right? Like in my opinion, it completely takes away world PvP and it makes it so that world PvP only happens when it's convenient for you. And I don't think that that's what world PvP is supposed to be. I think,
it's not scary.
That's what a PvP server's for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why you play on PvP server or PvE server. Like
I play on PvP to be scared and to be inconvenienced. Friction, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's for you, Egrid.
I mean,
I mean that's true though.
As a priest,
I agree.
I don't love, like, you know, I'm never the one instigating war with people because I'm probably going to just die. But I will help when all of the rogues that I play with instigate war every time.
I think a lot of these problems are definitely exacerbated just by the power levels inside too, where it just seems like whoever gets the drop wins, right? Like that's just how it is. There's almost like no room for turnaround unless like you happen to have your PvP trinket on and banish or what have you. And even then there's like, you know, they might just fairy fire you or whatnot.
My PvP trinket's on at all times in the open world. All times.
Oh yeah, same. You know, it's
rare that I forget.
Like, and get a bark skin off, I might be able to turn some stuff around. But look, if a hunter gets the drop on me and I don't even know where he is and he's 40 yards away and I'm half health, I'm like, well, I'm just dead, you know?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is I didn't like it when we didn't have dual spec, like in Classic 2020 and 2019.
Dual spec's nice.
Yeah, that made it suck. I mean, because rogues could get away with being PvE spec and still be pretty viable in PvP. A Fury Warrior was literally just like a rogue with no utility and no stealth. Like it was, I mean, you might as well just run past and just not even try. Like, and so it was, that's what I didn't like about 2019 and 2020 is that you just couldn't, I'm not going to fight if I'm not in PvP spec. Like even now, if I forget to go to PvP spec, I'll just go ahead and let them kill me. Well, I say that, but
I'm in
sometimes
spec,
I don't. Sometimes I don't, but it just depends
on the
class.
Thing. I think vanilla, like WoW and vanilla MMOs, like I don't think the PvP was like inherently supposed to be like balanced like that. I think it was like this side thing, right? It was the classes were balanced more around PvE, so it's just easy to shit on like class imbalances too, right? Like
PvP was an afterthought for them,
right? It was the extra.
They've talked about it.
Have they?
Oh yeah, a bunch of different interviews. It's something that came about late, and they were so into EverQuest and the PvE part of it. Like most of the devs in there, the Ultima Online guys brought it up. They're like, "Are we not like gonna do like PvP stuff?" And they're like, "Huh?" Like, yeah, because a bunch of them, some of them, all the devs that started World of Warcraft. Some of them were big UO enjoyers, and some of them were big EverQuest enjoyers, but almost all of them played both. And so the Ultima Online was definitely wanted PvP, and so that's when it came in. And that's the whole reason I played those games back in the day. Like I raided for PvP.
Right. Yeah, I like Ultima Online. I was a little too young to really. All I wanted was a horse and the guy at the local card shop.
What I was like server did you play on?
Dude, Ultima Online, I don't remember.
I played Great Lakes.
So young. Dude, that sounds so familiar. I know that we were running it on Macintoshes through a program called Virtual PC and loading up Ultima Online from there. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but yeah, so I was a little too young on Ultima Online, but EverQuest, like the idea, even though I never did like do a lot of PvP in there as a kid, like the idea of thinking that like, because MMOs were new, right? The whole idea was a new concept. The fact that I could be good, like that's what kept me playing. Same with like Pokemon. Like I always thought I could go to a tournament and be like really good one day, even though I never did. That's what was fun about playing those games, you know. Like
yeah, I won tournaments in Tekken Tag, PS2.
What's that? Oh, Tekken
Tag and PS2. Was really good at that game. But that was a random thought for some reason.
PS2?
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I thought this.
Yeah, I had played.
I knew that.
I'd played thousands of hours with a few different buddies, learning every block, every 10 hit combo on Tekken 2 on regular PlayStation. And when Tekken Tag came out, everything came to full circle, and I was just a god. We'd play 8-on-8, and I'd win against anybody that I ever went against locally. I'd win. I'd use 2 people. I'd kill all 8 of theirs. And so I had to go out of town to different tournaments to actually get competition. And whew, it was very competitive. Year was this? I never won any of them. I got second once, but it was a rude awakening to be like, well, I've played fucking dozens of people back home. They can't even come close to me. And yeah,
That's a story as old as time. Like, I don't want to rant too much here, but say Lars Ulrich from Metallica in Denmark and stuff, him and his family were like some of the best tennis players. Like his dad's like pro tennis player, and they sent Lars to America to go to tennis school, and this big tennis school in California. And he got there and he's like, was the best in my country. He goes, I'm the worst one here. You know what I'm saying? That's he stopped playing tennis and made Metallica, right? But yeah, man, it's a rude awakening for sure sometimes. Like,
yep. But I mean, I just wish I was born a little bit later. I would have been a professional gamer. But
what year were you doing those Tekken tournaments in?
It was after I came back from KU. It's like 2002, 2001, awesome. And 2002. It was.
That's awesome.
Shortly after the PlayStation. Not really. I mean, most of the tournaments were held at different like Comic-Con type events and stuff. Like one was in St. Louis, one was in Dallas, one was in Omaha.
That's still cool though. That's still really cool for 2002, man.
Yep. But yeah, it's just there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for that stuff back in the day, and then you get older. That's why I got into Overwatch, is because I had gotten too slow to excel at first person shooters. Yeah, I'm a ride main, tank main. Yeah. Yep. And the only time I ever got masters was during the GOATS meta playing Reinhardt, and I got diamond a lot, but because everything centered so much around the moves and less about your Twitch, your Twitch gaming, I was able to play that at a high level for my age, so it helped out a bunch, and I really, really loved that. I was never playing Widow. I was, I did play Hanzo a bunch before they changed him. Like, yeah, he didn't. I was good at the bad Hanzo. Right? Yeah, I was good at the bad Hanzo, but
and it was fun to play around on those. But I totally agree. Like, I got there and I started thinking like, hey, I could actually like get really good on Mercy. I could actually like raise my. I'm not going to be a good soldier. I'm not going to be a good Widow, because I just don't have the flicks right. But I could be Mercy. I could be Reinhardt.
Soldier, I was okay at, because Soldier was really just.
And scan too, yeah.
Well, also, it's just like the biggest rule in first person shooters is crosshair placement. When you're turning a corner, you need your crosshair. Like, you can't be looking up, you can't be looking down. You need to have your crosshair like in the right spot, and that's one of the biggest things. So that still translated a little bit. Soldier was actually the first one I got diamond with, but he was definitely not the one I was the best with. But we are tangenting. I'm so sorry, audience.
I'm sorry too.
Okay, so did anybody have anything?
My viewers are used to it. Trust me, they're okay if there's any of them in there.
We do it a lot here too. Does anybody have anything left to say about the PvP comment? I thought it was a great comment, though. Even though I don't agree about war mode, I thought it was a great comment, and I think he's definitely onto it. With the majority of people look at the PvP servers with rose-tinted glasses.
Oh, they absolutely do, and there's just not really anything to be done about it, honestly. Like, unless they were to implement something like you can't attack people who are gray, but then you, like you said before, you get into the problems of like, oh, what if they're just healing somebody you're fighting and you can't actually attack them and whatnot. It sucks. It is what it is. Nothing's going to change. It's like, we can bitch about it all we want, but nothing's going to change. So, either deal with it or don't. It's kind of up to you whether you want, which mega server you want to end up at.
I think if you want to play PvP on WoW, you go play retail. Like, I think if you're serious about PvP on WoW, like, I mean, you can have fun.
If you want to play it at a high level, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Or CAD, I guess. I mean, if you want to do
it, right. But if you're an old dude like me and you just know the game well, SoD's a really fun place to PvP. I have more success than not.
Me too, yeah.
And if I went and played COD or all the kids playing Fortnite, I'd get my butt whooped, right? So I don't know. The older gamers might enjoy classic PvP more than they would enjoy retail, because retail is really counting like try, reset, count, CC cooldown, CC diminishing returns, and
And I think I don't want to do that anymore. Either. I think the coolest thing that WoW's ever done PvP wise was the Mock Graw tournament. from the OTK.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
cool.
so cool.
It was
I loved that.
so
Yeah.
easy to follow. Like even though like I didn't know all the classes and like the setup, the camera view, that like there wasn't a bunch of shit on the screen. It was so easy to follow, man. It was the 1v1s. Like even if you didn't know, you could tell like, oh shit, they they were in trouble, right? You could tell who was winning. Like I think they need to do that every year, even if it's not $100,000, man. Do it for $5,000. Like it'd still be cool.
People would still do it 100%.
I enjoy retail arena tournaments, but I'll be honest, I'm so lost. I think that was the biggest problem with the Overwatch League too. I mean, that's why I was so good, because I knew everything about the game and knew everything about all the different moves, knew what countered what, yada yada. But the majority of people have no idea of that. They're just like, what the hell just happened? And
they introduced some cool things. They had the replay system, you remember?
Yep.
Like the league did
where you can watch the whole match over again from anybody's perspective.
Oh,
that was so
that was
cool.
Brilliant.
It was so cool.
So they did try, but it's just hard.
All right, well,
I do know Todd or Bob that when we are out, maybe be like me, you, Helbjörn, and Crispy or whoever. Whenever it's just like 3 of us or 4 of us, and we're just out doing some quest or just farming something, we're like a force to be reckoned with. Like unless we're truly outnumbered,
we are
people up. Like,
dude, we were doing. There was 5 of us doing our quests in Siri Gorge the other day, and we just like the alliance was feeling spicy. I think it's because there was like it was either 12 to 15 of them in one area, and they killed us. We came back, and the 5 of us killed all 12 to 15 of them. And I was the only one that died during the whole interaction.
I think I just ended up battle resing you, right? It was just like,
yep. Yeah. It was just like, we destroyed them. I mean, just made them look silly. And we didn't even have a dedicated healer. Like, we were all DPS. And they had heals, but we killed their heals first. We killed, like and we like seed them in different spots. I would blind and be like, don't hit Hunter, and we do. We are a force. We also almost never lose any Arathi basins we go to either. Warsong we do. We don't have a good flag carrier, but
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, those games last night, or game, I should say, when we finally got in, they just had 2 of those like druid spec for flag carrying that knew every single jump. It was impossible.
And they kept trading. You'd get one close, and he'd be like, "Take the flag," and then the other one take off. You're like, "Dang it!" It's so frustrating. But yeah, Arathi Basin, we almost literally we'd go nights where we'd play 15 games, we wouldn't lose one, and it's just 5 of us queuing. So we were definitely getting duds. So yeah, we are definitely a force. Okay, let's move on to what's everybody been up to lately in WoW. I'll let whoever wants to go first. As Josh Corbett says, first in, best dressed.
Steve.
I'm first. Okay. Well, we've been starting to do Heat 3. This is the second week that we've done it. Found it remarkably easier than I think we thought it was going to be. And I think, Mel, you probably can attest to how much less healing there is just because everybody's resisting everything when you have that much fire resistance. So as long as you're not exploding, you're literally just not taking damage. Or, I mean, if you pull aggro, obviously you're going to get one shot, but like that's always... Yeah, and I think we did it right. We did Heat 1 like 2 weeks, and then we did Heat 2 for like long enough for everybody to get their tier gear, which is where a lot of your like good fire resistance pieces comes from, and get some money to buy the expensive enchants and things like that. So, we have 2 more weeks of Heat 3, I believe, before BWL comes out, and so I think that was a kind of a good pace to do it, and probably what Blizzard actually intended. Obviously we have our sweaties that it's Heat 3. We're going to do the hardest thing right away because we have to, well, and I've never really felt that way. Like, obviously I want to do the hardest content at some point. Like I always wanted to get Heroic Lich King down. I didn't care about doing it week 1 and that type of thing. But
what's messed up though, Kildad, is I was thinking about this the other day. We haven't wiped on anything Heat 2 or 3 since week 2 of Molten Core. We haven't wiped on one thing. Well, no, we only had the ninja pull on the molten meatball. The first,
and we weren't even unbooned yet, so it didn't even matter, right? Like,
yeah, but like we haven't wiped. which is just weird. I forget how to get back to Molten Core when you die. I don't know how, like, weird.
How much fire resist do you guys have?
It's player to play, but you need the class, like obviously melee has a way easier with that core Molten Core set or whatever it is, the leather pieces.
Yeah, the Devil Core. And then also on top of that, melee, most of us, like warriors and rogues, we have no reason to use any other flask besides Titans or Resistance. So we get a free 25 from that too. So, like, whereas as if you were a caster, you'd be like, there's no freaking way I'm going to give up 150 spell power for 25 resistance. But for rogues, it used to be that way for rogues until they nerfed in Venom being boosted by spell power. So, but yeah, it's a lot easier for certain classes.
So yeah, like having the enchants helps a ton. Getting the ring from Honored with Hydraxian is a huge. I have some ring. I think I got out of Sholo that it's like 17 resistance and got some spell power, and I think like a hit on it. So it's like excellent for the set because that's one of the big things you give up is hit whenever you're starting to put on fire resistance pieces. I try to just use jujus and whatnot to bridge the gap, so I'm not truly griefing myself on trinkets and things like that.
To answer your question, for me though, unbuffed, I wear like right around 100. I think my set. I just got 2 more tier pieces and completed that, so I'm gonna have to redo my set again. But currently, my set is like 176 unbuffed. Then you get 52 more because you can't count on Shaman Totem, but you can count on Mark of the Wild everywhere outside of Gar. So I use Mark of the Wild 27 and the Flask 25, so 52 more. So that gets me over the 226
minimum threshold.
Yeah, minimum. But then I oftentimes am higher than that because the Shaman will have their totem down and I'll be in range most of the time. And then for Gar, I wear a clown suit. Hopefully with the new tier pieces, I'll be able to do a little bit better. But my parses go from high 80s, low 90s to 60s on Gar and Baron because I'm so scared to take any fire res off.
And I've been using that Heart of the Scale, and like I've been even like making us wait until my Heart of the Scale is off cooldown, which is excellent. I mean, it's 10 fire resistance and a bunch of stamina base. It's off the last boss in Ubers, but the on use lasts for 5 minutes, 10-minute cooldown, so it's up 50% of the time. Is an additional 20, so it's a 30 fire resistance trinket by itself. So like sometimes I'm using that over top of the miniaturized fire extinguisher or whatever.
I've got that
just,
too.
That much better.
I should try that on Gar. Maybe I'm just always afraid to lose my world buffs. I wish we could save because Gar's the hardest one. I think Gar and Baron are the hardest. Heat 2 / Heat 3
is solid as fuck right now, though. Like I'm super happy with our strategy.
It's not parsy as fuck though. I'd love it if we could skip those 2 bosses, or at least skip. Gar. Can we skip Gar and do Gar last right before Rag?
I think you could.
You can skip Baron though, right?
No, you can't skip Baron. He's way too fast.
Does he? I thought people used to. Yeah, I guess maybe not.
Maybe with Invispots or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, his path's huge, and I don't know how you would.
I'm too scared at that point of the game to mess around with it, so I haven't. But it'd be nice to just get a good parse on that guy. But yeah, I don't know why Gar is the hardest, but he definitely is. Although I don't know if we tried to blow him up now. We haven't tried that strategy in a long time. We might be able to.
Yeah, our tanks are a lot better too now, or more geared, I should say. Our tanks are obviously all gangsters, but I mean, we kind of also griefing ourselves on parses on the way that we do Baron instead of just like pulling him and doing like down the hallway strat that most other people do. I don't know. I've always thought that was like sketchy. Like every time I watch another guild doing it, it seems like fucking chaos. I'm like,
yeah.
Pulling them to Gar's room.
Yeah, we pulled him to Gar's room because you can't just have him one spot. You have to. The tank has to slowly kite him in heat 2 and 3, and so
because you got the puddles too, right?
Yeah, and so you have to clear a lot more trash in that room. There's a chance that somebody fucks up and pulls Shazra. Like, there's all kinds of scary things that could happen there.
Let's come back to Heat 1, guys. It's awesome.
Dude, he was great, man. He was great.
Take me back to BFD, dude.
I honestly would like it if when BWO drops, if they change the heat levels to just reduce the fire resistance by some amount, so that we don't have to keep a round of fire resistance set if we ever want to do Molten Core again. Because all that tier 2 gear doesn't seem to have any fire resistance on it. So
you're
like,
gonna be
just like
you're gonna be using your fire resist on certain fights in
sure
in Blackwing Lair, especially Fireball.
Fireball, yeah. Like, that's always been true.
And basically the dragons. Well, it was always in 2019 and 2020. It wasn't. It was true in real vanilla where everybody wore fire resist, but only some really like savvy people, like parsing guilds would do it.
Monkey. Yeah,
would do it just so they could parse Fireball. But you really only had to have your tanks having it, but I think it's going to be a lot more necessary going in now. But keep that stuff because it's still going to be worthwhile. And I mean, I think it's in the news section, but I mean, they're upping the Hydraxian cloak enchant from 20 to 30. And
do we have to get a new cloak, or does it just work retroactively?
You could just put it over top your old enchant, just like a new enchant. But you just have to buy a new enchant from there for whatever it is, 5 gold or something like that. But yeah. So were you done with what you've been doing? I interjected with you.
I guess, yeah. I think I was the first one to go, and we've just been chatting. So who wants to go next?
All right, so you're saying that you just do heat 1, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hold on. You looked at me like that was a dig. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No. Yeah, no. I'm used to my Twitch chat, right?
Okay.
So I'm anticipating their like reactions to it.
Okay.
So yeah, like earlier when you guys were like, we haven't wiped, I was like, me either, right? But like the truth is, we wipe all the fucking time, right? So that's kind of self-digging. I'm self-digging. I think it's funny, but yeah, no, we do like, again, like I did the Ultima Online, the EverQuest. Like when I look at like rating, it was always like this other like thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I played to level and RPG, MMO, old school kind of stuff. And then I never rated in WoW, man, up until Season of Discovery Phase 1. I've been streaming 4.5 years and we just started rating, So like my content was like gold giveaways, super social kind of stuff.
Well, and rating back in 2004, 2005 was 8 hour a day, 5 days a week minimum job to just be dropping all of the content. Like, I mean, because progression took months to get through everything.
Yeah, 100%. And it was like a different part of the game. Like most people only like
didn't
1%. Yeah, most people weren't 60 by the time they hit TBC, and 1% of the player base saw Naxxramas and all that stuff, right? So I was just always looked at rating like, oh, that's not me. And I also didn't want to get yelled at. I didn't, think that was going to be a good time because that was the perception of it. And so I just put a guild together in Phase 1.
50 DKB minus.
Yeah, exactly. 100%
what
that.
Fuck.
More
dots now.
More dots. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that DBM like adds that.
I love it too, dude. It's so good. Man. It's so good.
But so we put the guild together, dude. Level 25, Phase 1. I was like, dude, this is perfect content. Like doing this, not hardcore, and I need content. I can get level 25. It'll be easy. And we just kind of put the guild together that does the no gear checks, no parses, like just completely old school Mountain Dew, Cheetos kind of vibe. And we'll take anybody, any class. Like if I have a full
why
group,
you wipe, dude.
Oh, well, I know.
That is, dude. I started that way, not checking parses when we first started in Phase 1 and 2, and then I finally had to just be like, well, I need to check and make sure it's at least like a green or something, like at least a 50 or higher.
I totally get it.
Oranges here. I'm looking for blues and greens to say that these fights like at least somewhat.
Well, and it's just like and especially in SoD, there's so much they could not have. Like we had a horrible time in the transition from Phase 3 to Phase 4 because 3 of the shamans that came in our group didn't realize they had to go buy the book, and we didn't either. Like it was something hidden in the patch notes. They didn't realize they had to go buy Shamanistic Rage when it flipped over. So we're doing the raid without Shamanistic Rage on any of our shamans, and we're like, fuck, you know,
I was doomed this week. What the fuck's happening?
Yeah, it was just like, and
just getting people to move out of the dream clouds on Aranicus is like a whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just being like, hey, move to the left, and they will just stand there. Like for 10-15 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Like move to the left, right? And so like, but that is for me, like so I've never been against parsing. I'm not against it. I've always said I understand why it's fun. Going back to playing Pokemon, thinking it can be really good, right?
Yep.
And I get it. I get the competitiveness of it. Maybe one day I'll get there. You know, like this is a storyline, right? Starting from not raiding to guild leading to doing the whole thing.
I'll tell you, you're not going to be a high parser running the raid and running the guild. It's you're
I'm learning.
Yeah, you're going to have to take. Plan on it either. Yeah, I mean, I could be pressing 95 to 99s, but instead I'm pressing 89s to 94s because I'm worried about too many other things. And it's just going to be the way it is. Also, I'm not selfish, and you kind of have to be selfish to get the highest parses. A lot of times, I'm not saying every time, but I like them because I could play the same way the next week, but at a higher efficiency, and I can see my number grow.
Sure,
right? Like that's
your rank. It's your rank.
Yeah, and that's seeing me improving, looking at myself. Because there's also the whole thing of you're not going to parse in a group that has half the people that don't know what they're doing. That's not going to happen either. It's not an individual parse. Your parse is based an exponential amount. That's not the right word, but a huge part of your parse is based on what the rest of your team does. Maybe 75 to 80% of your parse depends on them. Because I can run with a different raid groups and get way different parses,
Sure.
So
yeah, it's not. Yeah. And like, that totally seems fun. Maybe one day I'll do it. But right now, this is just like the content, I care more. I found that I really enjoy.
It's probably interesting as fuck
just killing bosses.
Watch. Yeah. I bet I would enjoy that more than watching somebody pump.
It's also super fulfilling. Like when we did down Aranicus finally, it took us like 8 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It felt like old school MMO EverQuest fucking shit.
That's awesome.
And that's just how I've always played MMOs. So that's the feeling that like I'm chasing and stuff. And I also found I really like everyone. Yeah. Like chat's lighting up, it's like, I was here.
That's awesome.
And
you're
I
just like,
we actually played Live to Win, the South Park song. That's our go-to. Yeah. But yeah, I found I really like I like reading the guides. I like watching videos, but I found that I really like doing the homework on the raid and then trying to see if I can learn it and teach it. Like that's been really fun. Like the content is, can I do it right? Yeah, go ahead.
I find I get a lot more out of a written guide.
Yeah.
Prior to ever trying it, I only get good things out of a visual YouTube guide after I've already done the fight a couple times.
100%.
Like I don't get it visually until I've done it a couple times, but when it's listed there, and some people do the guides really good where they'll put the moves on the screen so you have time to read them out. But looking at what all the different things do, that is just much easier for me to see in a written guide. And especially if you're raid leading, you have to know all the stuff,
everything.
And I'm lucky because I was just going to say me and Killnine are lucky because we have a lot of other people that help us run the raid that we can ask. And we're not weirdo guys that pretend like we know everything. So we're cool to ask them, well, how do you understand how this works? Because I really need some explanation to make the right call here, And so we're kind of lucky in that aspect. Having a couple people that know other things that you don't know is really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Check your egos at the door. We're all trying to kill this together. I don't need to be the one that led this boss to feel fulfilled that we killed it,
Exactly.
And I think that's also kind of the heart of MMOs too. All of parsing, not parsing, all of it's okay. You just got to find people who want to play the way you want to play.
Exactly. Whether it's super sweat, whether it's middle of the road, whether it's just want to chill and drink some beers. Yep, exactly.
But yeah, I think that's it for me, really. A little bit of hardcore sprinkled in. We've been doing a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, I know they're doing like certain hardcore tournaments that are sprinkling up here and there, like races to 25 and things like that. I know there's a few Discords that sponsor that type of thing, so that content's out there if you want to do it.
I need to. Mel and I have a 56 warrior, and she has a 56 priest that we were almost done with on the official hardcore servers, and then SoD came out. And I ain't logged back in that guy since. I'm pretty sure he's fully world buffed and everything. Like, it's ready to go. Now he's got full rest. But now I'm scared to log in because, like, I'm rusty on him. I don't know what I'm going to do. And, like, it's a warrior. I've never gotten a warrior. I've completed the challenge 3 different times, but not with a warrior.
You need to make a level 1 to get the rust off. Because
the rust
is real. I logged on. We just got off of a 293-hour stream, by the way. 293 hours.
Yeah, dude, that was insane.
How?
A long stream.
Did you sleep during it?
100%. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we would put the couch up here, right? So it was like one of those animal kind of sideshow things. Like people would watch sleeping. My cat would be the star of the show, right, during that. And then I would also leave the stream on when I had to go like take care of some stuff, IRL stuff.
Damn. But the longest one I've ever done, I think, was 38 hours. But I was up the entire time.
Yeah, that's completely different. We totally cheesed some aspects of it. Absolutely. But like,
I got drunk during it. Then for 8 hours on stream, hydrated, got undrunk, and then got drunk again.
Yeah,
like that's literally what I did on stream. It was crazy town.
That's awesome though. That's awesome. 38 hours is a long fucking time. Like, you start like seeing shit.
It was one of the SoD ones. It was I think it was phase 2 launch. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was phase 2 launch.
So you were leveling. That's why you were doing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just do Scarlet Monasteries over and over and over again for 38 hours?
Dude, Mel and I always try to do the best way, and then we always end up being like, nah, fuck it, we're gonna go quest.
No. Mel always says, no, I don't want to do that. We hate doing that. We try to do it every time. It's horrible. And Bob like, no, we have to. It like this time it's different because we have to do this, and I'm like, okay.
And it never actually matters.
It's different.
Third reset, we're all just like, oh, I'd never want to do this dungeon again. Like, we only have to do it 536 more times. Yeah. Like, that's not fun. Like, stop. Crazy people.
Yeah.
And then there's incursions, which is
incursion fans or not incursion fans.
So I was a fan of incursions when they first popped out. I was like, this is awesome. I'm leveling so fast, dude. Now I can get on my hunter and I could level him too. But I think it was bad for the game. But it was really extremely exciting off the bat. Like, it was extremely exciting right off the bat. But I understand it was bad for the game, and then it really made me really struggle in phase 4 because I was like thinking I'd be like 60 like right away. I could get my other character ready. It'd be no good. It'd be all good. And then it was a rude awakening, being like, oh, this is a slog, actually. Shoot.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Because I think, like, people hate the incursions, but then also Scarlet Monastery, like Mel was saying, right? Like, so I think the incursion would have been better if they didn't have. You shouldn't have been able to get your pre-raid bis from the incursions. I think
that was a bad thing.
It's like people love it, right? I love pre-raid bis farming. It's the pre-show to the raid, right? So even I think the leveling in gold was fun because otherwise you would just be doing Scarlet Monastery, but still make you go hunt your pre-raid bis, I think would be good.
See, they honestly should have done dailies off the bat, and like that's all I should have done. Just have it be dailies off the bat. Make it worth your while to do it.
If it gave you a whole level. Yeah, if it gave you a whole level, it would have been worth it.
Anticipated the amount. I mean, the amount of players min-maxed it. You know what I'm saying? I talk about it a lot on stream, but like, I think it was, hey, and I'm not trying to rant here. I hope if I do, just
you're fine, dude. You're fine.
Like,
you are our guest here, sir.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. But I think like the intent, like, again, like all phase 2 was Scarlet Monastery bad. Like doing Scarlet Monastery till my eyes bleed. Like that was the rhetoric on Reddits and everywhere was Scarlet Monastery. And no one wanted to level alts because I don't think I can go through Scarlet Monastery again, And that was what that was the word, right? And so I can see the idea behind incursions. Hey, you get 5 of your friends. People can hop in and out whenever because you can just share the things. And, you go run in, you'll do a handful of quests. You'll come and you'll get a handful of different quests. go back in, whatnot. But then we got the add-on, right?
The add-on.
We stopped doing the kill quest and fucking we min-maxed it.
Because of the way they made the quests, you could share the quests with anybody, even outside of your group. So it just made it, you ran with a whole raid, and everybody just share. It just went to everybody. It would try somebody. If it couldn't share with them, it'd try the next person. You would just click the button over and over again.
Yeah, the add-on was great.
And it'd keep trying. Yeah, it was absolutely insane.
Running around too, even after the min-max, I still liked it because it was just kind of cool, seeing 100 people completely mobbing through a zone together.
It was cool to see.
It was kind of fun.
It was when we first saw Blizzard's tech really take a jump, because we could see, oh shit, there's 200 people standing right next to me, and I have no lag. This is awesome,
True. Yeah, true.
That was very different.
Very true. I didn't think about that. That's why I liked it, probably, because it was oh shit, there's 100 people here. This feels like a Helm's Deep, but fucking I'm not lagging. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So no excuse going forward, right?
I mean, we'll see how the mega server actually performs, right?
Launch is on mega server.
I mean, the thing is, this is a season, right? So we are the guinea pigs for this. This could fail catastrophically. Right? We're going to be the ones that pay for it.
Because that's in the news. But Mel, what have you been up to? Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I don't think I've been up to anything. I raided. I think that's all I've done. Right? Did I do anything else?
Didn't you do some trinket farming with us one night too?
Oh, yeah. I didn't get it though. So,
excuse me.
I got my chalice finally, so maybe I can parse now.
Oh, hell yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see.
You got to get that snapshot, brother.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go then. What have I been doing? Dude, last weekend, it was Arathi Basin weekend, and I was just joking with the guys. I was like, hey, guys, it's probably not going to happen, but it's AB weekend. Let's just queue and then go do crap. And, we'll just, we'll go see if we can get this done while we're doing, while we're in queue and stuff. And I got 4 people to do it with me. Killnine was one of them, and the queue popped quite a bit, actually. We got to play a good handful of games for 2 days in a row. And
are people playing it or are they zerging it?
Arathi Basin, not AV.
Arathi Basin. Yeah. AV, I've been doing a lot of that too. But yeah, no. We're actually we actually got into Arathi Basin, and it was so much fun. We're like, all right, dude, we don't get to do this often. We're gonna full consume. I mean, we destroyed people.
Yeah.
We were Titan Flask. We were popping mongooses, lips, faps, freaking bombs. We were having just a blast, and we just did that, and it was so fun. Our queue was popping within probably usually around 8 minutes, and it was just this is so cool. And then we did. I talked about it with the guys. I was like, guys, we should let them win 1 or 2, because they would quit after we 5 games in a row, just stop them. They would quit. And I was the next day I was like, we should let them win. Nobody would let me do that. They're like, no, forget that. And I was like, guys, this is what I used to do when I played Tekken Tag. I'd let people win so they'd keep playing with me.
No, not in WoW.
Yeah.
Right?
They were not down with it, but yeah, we had so much fun. Oh my gosh, Arathi Basin is the best BG.
And honestly,
too.
There's something to be said about instant queue times and whatnot, but that 8 minutes was kind of perfect, because it was I need to go to the bathroom, or I want to go smoke a cigarette, or let's go outside and duel while we're waiting. And
we did a lot of that. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was actually kind of a sweet spot for us, especially as the night went later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you weren't questing probably too hard in between, but you could, like you said, break between. Yeah.
Yep. But
you guys like Arathi more than Warsong? Sorry.
Yes. Warsong, I'd probably like more if I was a druid that was good at flag running, or if I had a couple buddies that were good at flag running. It really is the thing that makes or breaks that game. And there just isn't a lot of rules in place. I know retail put in some pretty good stuff where the flag, becomes visible after a certain amount of time, no matter if they switch it off. I think a debuff, the stacking debuff, should go on the flag.
Yeah.
So even if they pass it off, they still get like 50% more damage done to 60% more damage done to 70% more damage done to. Yeah, like
some kind of dampening. Yeah, for
sometimes
sure.
it's like 45 minutes. I was like, God damn, dude, I didn't plan on like
because
that was literally we knew where the flag was. We just couldn't kill him. Like,
yeah, we just couldn't, and we couldn't do the jumps that he could do. And I mean, that's why I don't like Warsong, is because it depends so heavily on those types of players. And if you don't have one of those players, it just feels bad. And so that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, and we had 3 rogues in our group, and not one of them had a wound poison on them.
Yeah, none of us had wound poison on us. Dang it. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. We could have killed him many times if we had wound poison on. So it's not like it was insurmountable, but
it's like that.
I like it more than Altric Valley, though. I will say that.
It's that, like, meme from It's Always Sunny. He's like, you are 3 adult men in your 30s. You don't have $500 between the 3 of you. The economy, and
they just probably did it.
3 rogues in that group, but not one of you has a single wound poison. What the fuck, guys?
Yep.
I don't think I keep wound poison on me.
Yep.
I should. You're right. I should. But
I usually do. It was in I have it in all my extra poisons in my mailbox. It's just as a raid lead
poison.
It's your rogue mortal strike, basically.
Yeah. Which we frenzied regeneration on the flag carrier bear druids. Like, we just literally couldn't go through it.
Yeah, that's basically. I've been just doing a lot of PvP, helping people run dungeons or run whatever they need to. When I'm on doing the dailies, which I've really started to think was really fun, because there's a lot of PvP that happens during that. Like, even though you get nothing for it, I still have a good time. I don't like them camping the little top area. I think it's lame. But when you fight over the tags, you're fighting over a resource. So I really like that. So we have a good time with that. We take way too long to do our dailies because we PvP so much. But it's
fun. That's the game.
Yeah, it's fun. You build up rivalries. It's been a good time.
It's also that code of ethics that we have. Like, we'll wipe them once, but we're not going to stay here. We have our own quest to do. We're not going to wait for them to spawn and kill them again. We're going to just keep moving. And if we see them at the next spot and they're trying to farm our shit, we're kill them again there. But we're not coming.
I'm like, dude, the group we wiped is coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're back. But we give them time to heal up. So we give them time to heal up, to get ready again, and then we go at it. Unfortunately, they usually don't wait till we're back healed up when they win the interaction. But you know what? Tit for tat, do unto others as you would like to be treated, not as they do to you. So
exactly.
Well, that's really pretty much what all I've been up to. We could probably just go ahead and move on to time for the news. All right.
Awesome. That's awesome. I've never heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's my that's the news transition. That's me, actually.
Awesome, is it? That's great. I make cartoons.
Time for the news.
I make cartoons, man. We should do a cartoon. That would be cool.
I do.
Have you seen my cartoons?
I haven't, but now I want to. I do a lot of like voices, like build them up, break them down.
That's good, dude. That's Reinhardt, yeah.
Yep. No, Torbjorn.
Oh, yeah.
Reinhardt's more like this. I am Reinhardt. Yeah, and then you've got your. Well, they didn't give you those guns to throw them away like trash, did they?
Those are fucking great, man. I'm not just saying that because those are good.
I love changing up voices.
Voice. That's exactly why.
maybe. I was doing McCree lines when I met Matt Mercer at the Blizzard Party 2018 BlizzCon. And
that's sweet, dude.
Mercer was cracking up at me doing it. He's like, dude, you're not doing bad, actually. But he's like, but if you were doing it perfect, you'd do it like this. And he'd do it. I'd be like, yeah, that is so much better.
Damn, that's really cool. I think that's the coolest one story.
I was watching an episode of Critical Role, and Mercer was talking about like the showdown that was about to happen, in the D&D campaign. And he's like, "Oh, they want to meet you. They want to meet you in the Midtown at It is like everyone's like, "Oh, you gonna say hi?" And he's like, "Midday."
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Dude, he is just as nice as he comes off of in real life. He didn't know me from Adam. Yes, I was at a Blizzard invite only party, but like
he didn't know you still.
He was still super nice, super cool. Like he just a really fun guy and interacting with me. Like there's a lot of celebs that you'll meet and like they'll just kind of like, they'll get away from you as fast as they can, right? They'll say thank you, blah, blah, blah. But like he's just interacting and just having a good time, having some beers. Like it was great. It was a good time.
Well, I bet being a celeb also like Matt Mercer, like for what he's a celeb for, is cooler than like fan wise. It's like he's a celeb for us nerds.
Also cooler than
Kanye or whatever.
Yeah, like being like a big rapper, a big singer, being a big movie star, that type of celeb sucks. Like the type of celeb the content creators is great because you go to like an event and that's the only time people recognize you. Like I've been recognized once in my hometown. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Was it? What happened?
Jimmy John's. It was this guy Mel was on jury.
I forgot you told us this.
Mel was on jury duty, so I was coming up at lunch and taking her to lunch to different places. We went to Jimmy John's. We're sitting down there eating a sandwich. This guy walks in, he looks at me. I look at him, and then he does this big smile like he knows me. And I'm like, I don't know that guy. I don't know why he's smiling at me. I look down, and then he orders, and he comes walking over to us, and I was like, what's going on here? Maybe I know him from somewhere. He goes,
yeah.
Do you guys do like WoW content? I was like, oh yeah. He's like, oh well, I'm the guy that helped Simonize with the Fell Striker tech when it first came out in Wrath. I was like, oh cool. And he's like, dude, this is crazy. I didn't know you lived in the KC area. He was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh cool, man. But yeah, that was the only time outside of conventions I've ever been recognized, and it was definitely like, whoa.
Yeah, that's really cool though. Like, yeah.
But do you think about bigger people? Like, they probably get it all the time. I'm sure Asmongold gets it constantly if he's out.
He would have to leave his house. He would have to leave his house for that.
He would have to leave the house. But I was thinking about that recently. Like, I wish he would tell some. I would be very curious to hear him tell his stories about getting wrecked. I don't think he's ever told stories about getting recognized out in public.
Well, he tries to. I mean,
for sure. But he goes to Wendy's, right? Like,
but he goes to drive-through. He doesn't get out of the car. Like so.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Or if he's driving to like an OTK event, I'm sure he's driving straight there and straight back.
Yeah, but somebody somewhere has had to recognize it. He's been somewhere.
Oh yeah. There's no shot that
it is. Yeah. At BlizzCon, it was really cool. Like I think because I was walking around with Sarth and Crix and Jordy and all those people, I think is the reason I got recognized so much more than ever before. But it was crazy. People were asking for selfies. And the one thing I regret the most is I was so uncomfortable because I just don't feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like a cool guy that people want to talk to. Yeah. And they wanted to talk to me. And I should have just stayed and talked to the people that asked me for selfies and said they were fans of the show. I should have stayed and talked to them just about them a little bit more. But I ran away scared because I was just nervous and had anxiety about it and didn't want to let them down, those types of things. And I really regret that last BlizzCon, especially with them canceling the next one, because my whole motto was like, I'm going to talk to people more when they come up to me. I'm going to really make an effort to get out of my scared little box and talk to them. And then they canceled it. But yeah, I regretted that a lot. But we got recognized so much at this BlizzCon compared to every BlizzCon we've been to prior. It was, but it's probably because
it back, right?
I'm hoping.
And learning, it's a skill, man. Doing that kind of shit, I'm sure is a skill. You got to learn as you go.
All right, we just tangent We tangented from the news clip. So first up in the news,
good episode,
me and BatGasm could just probably talk forever on tangents.
Yeah, for sure.
One of these days we'll have to stream together, and I'll tell you about the time Jennifer Aniston hit on me.
Oh my
I want to hear that now, though, dude.
It's been recorded on a couple of the podcasts.
All right, I'll go look it up. I do want to hear that.
You guys have your own little private powwow about that and him being a Jedi. You guys can.
Yep, one of the first Jedi in Star Wars Galaxies. Everybody that plays the drinking game, drink. Yep. Yeah.
I was telling people about that just like a night or two ago, like the whole system for the Jedi system in Star Wars Galaxies and how fucking cool it was. That's crazy, man. Good for you. The first one was a girl, I think, if I remember right.
I was one of one of the first 50 because they actually reached out and talked. The devs reached out and talked to me.
That is cool. That's the coolest. That's so fucking cool, man.
It was super cool. And I'd only ever seen one Jedi before in the world, and it was in a tavern. They pulled out their lightsaber. I was like, dude.
Yeah. people who don't have that was the game I don't want to change it too much. We'll get into news, I'm sure. Your show. I'm not
Eventually, we'll do a single news.
It was the Jedi, like it was so hard to do, and those vanilla MMOs were such like people forget like WoW was marketed as a casual experience to those MMOs. That was the selling point of WoW. And dude, the Star Wars Galaxy Jedi stuff was like it's like some of the runes in Phase 3. People would be like, "You're not gonna figure this out," because I was trying to do it without guides and help, and everybody in chat was like, "You're not gonna figure it out."
You're literally not. Yeah, I was like, so fucking bonkers. Some of them.
That was Jedi stuff in Star Wars Galaxy, but on a crazier level. So that's really, really cool, man. But and when you died,
the droids ones was like you have to talk to a frog in the wetlands and then go to a cave. It's like, dude, I would have literally never, ever, ever found that. So,
but I love those RPG elements. Have you heard of Monsters and Memories, Bob? Okay, it was okay. I'll tell you about it later. But
but yeah, you perma-died. So when I first opened the Jedi slot, because it was an extra slot to make another character, I first did the thing where I just made characters over and over again, sent them I didn't have to send it to them. We had houses there, so I just go to like one of my properties and grab the stuff to make a lightsaber. Then I'd go to a major city and just pull out my lightsaber and be like, "Who's coming at me?" And I would kill hundreds sometimes before I would die, and then I'd have 2 lives left, and I'd come back.
It was only again. 3?
Yep.
It was 3?
3. And then I'd die, and I'd make a whole new tune. I'd do it in a different city. It was so much fun for like 3 weeks. And then I finally started to try to work him up, and that was just not fun. Like going with a not leveled up, just like super powerful being and not caring if I died was great. Then leveling up, like the first time I died, because the only way you could do it, it was so much longer. So you had to like pull these huge packs of like, you'd go you'd use a bug where you would never kill, you'd get those missions to kill the like hive of something, but you'd never kill the hive. You just let everything keep spawning, and it keeps spawning more and more, and then all of a sudden you'd be going up against 13, 15 mobs, and then your dial-up would freeze up, or you'd get booted, and then you come back and you're dead, and it's like that. It was just so uncomfortably unfun once I turned to start leveling up him. Right. So, but it was a whole like, I could tell the story forever, but we won't do that. We're on a classic WoW podcast now. All right. Season of Discovery Phase 5 arrives September 26th with Zul'Gurub and Blackwing Lair. Here we go, guys. Too soon? Just the right amount of time, or should we have had longer Phase 4?
I think it's about right. I mean, I don't think the timing's wrong at all, honestly. Like it's Blizzard. They're constantly juggling releasing this and Diablo content and Cataclysm content and whatnot. Like there really isn't a good time for them to do it. It's really like what's good for us. I'm perfectly happy with the release schedule. It is kind of surprising that they actually did end up putting ZG with this, because obviously this was its own phase back in the day. But I think it's a good idea because ZG was kind of always catch up gear to begin with. So like after you're already done AQ shit and like you're getting ZG gear, it just like doesn't feel good, you know?
Right. I agree. I think for me, it's a good time. I feel like the way we progressed, it seems like the perfect amount of time, right? Like we did
exactly.
Heat 1 for a couple weeks, then we did Heat 2 for a couple weeks, then we did Heat 3, and we'll get a couple more weeks of that. I feel like for at least the way that we did it, it feels like exactly right to me. I know that I'm sure people that did Heat 3 earlier, it probably feels a little long for them. For people who haven't hit Heat 3 yet, it might feel a little short for them. So I feel like
go ahead.
It's good. No, go ahead.
I think it feels good too. I mean, we haven't even done Heat 2. We tried one Heat 2, right? But I mean, my guild's different. So
Heat 2 changes the mechanics too on a lot of bosses. Not along with making it more health and more,
right?
You know, and then if you're trying Heat 2, did you try Heat 2 where people were using gear that was shit, or people were just using tier? Because like that should be pretty good transition as long as you understand the fights.
Yeah, it was a shit show. Like, we went back to Heat 1 like on like Guinness, I think, right? But
this full disclosure, no,
it's my raids almost every week, right? But we're getting there. I think it feels pretty good, honestly. I wish I would have had just like one, maybe two more lockouts, just because I'm having fun now. That like that's kind of the storyline each phase with my guild is. And how we do it. It starts out such a shit show, but around by the end of the phase, like we're starting to one night clears, or at least, you know, getting through it mostly in one night and getting the core group going. So it feels like every time that happens, that's when it's like perfect time to next phase it. So
we also have to realize that this is just Molten Core and it's not going anywhere. We're not leveling up and, you know, getting rid of it. People are still going to want Thunder Furies. People are still going to want Hand of Rag. People are going to need Sulfur and Ingrates, all that type of stuff. It's not going anywhere. So like
that's not true. It is going somewhere. We can actually never go back in. I think I heard them say that it was just going to be locked. No more entries.
That's it.
Yeah,
whoever
you're going to have to.
Furies got it.
Your raids can only be BWL from now on. So don't worry about it. Nobody's going to be, you know, doing both.
I personally don't necessarily want to do both.
I think it'll be more of a thing where the majority of people will just say, screw it, blow through it on Heat 1, and then turn it to Heat 3 on Rag, because that's where they're looking for Onslaught Girdle and stuff. Or people will just stick to binding runs, which will be super fast anyhow. You know, like type of deal. They just run in, kill guard and Baron, go straight to them, you know, type of deal. I think it'll just kind of depend. Because remember, Blackwing Lair is a lot shorter than
it is.
Molten Core.
I've never done it yet. Like I've never even been in there really. So
well,
I'm excited.
It's just 2/3 of the boss count, right? So once you get it on farm, it is a shorter raid than Molten Core is.
And there's realistically only one real hallway of trash. Like you kill the first like 3 bosses without really even doing that much. I guess you have the suppression room. I mean, I guess that counts as trash, but I mean,
mechanically speaking, what would you put it on par with the most from BFD, Nomer, Second Temple, Molten Core?
Oh, mechanically,
like,
if you have none of the whatever they call them, acronyms, afflictions, if you have none of the affixes active, it's easier than Sunken Temple.
I would agree with that
for sure. Like it's just kind of hard for tanks knowing the proper positioning and where to place the boss, and you know when the other tank needs to taunt on Ebon Rock, things of this nature. But like it's pretty fairly easy for everybody else in the raid. Now with the new affixes, you can make it a lot harder or a little bit harder. You know, and so those will definitely add extra bullshit to the top of it. So,
yeah, I would say BWO is more of a tank check than check for almost anybody else in the raid.
Not a lot of dream clouds. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. There's really not, especially affixless. Yeah, you're pretty much just DPSing the boss, and the tanks are gonna have to worry about threat drops and swapping and flame, wing buffets and things like that.
Or wing
flame
buffet,
wing buffet, flame buffet. Because Rude Lord does his like half threat drop or whatever, and battle strategy, you just need to pump as hard as possible because your melee is going to be going off the goddamn rails. It's really I think it's mostly just the tanks making sure that where they're positioning stuff correctly is the biggest check for BWL. I don't think Crow Magus, obviously, like, you need to do stuff, but I would say it's definitely on the tanks more than anybody else compared to Molten Core.
ZG's go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You're fine.
I was gonna say ZG is gonna be funny because ZG's got like quite a few different things that are really kind of weird, like that can wipe you really, really fast, like bat riders on one of the bosses.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh gosh, the spiders. You can do a console command to turn off the weird screen shake.
I have that saved somewhere. I'll have to find that because
I'm sure we'll be talking about it soon.
Yeah, there's these spiders that will bite you, and they will make you as drunk as your character can be.
Oh, I remember that. I've done a couple of these, I think.
And you just you can use a console command.
You literally cannot see if you don't use the console command to turn off the blur effect.
But then it fucks you later on. I can't remember if it's in AQ or in Nax, where one of the mechanics does something to you, so you know that you're under the effect. But if you've done the console command, you don't even know that you're under the effect.
Yeah,
I forget what it is.
Oh, right.
And I think it does some other shit. Like, obviously, you're swaying while you're walking, but I think it makes you drop your weapon too. Is that the same debuff?
I don't know.
Like, you're so drunk, you're just dropping your weapon while you're attacking. It's like something like that.
And it's just going in your bags.
No, like you literally are just disarmed for 5 seconds.
Like, randomly. Disarmed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could just make that console command a macro, right, and just put it on your action bar. And
once you do it, it just changes it, forever there.
Yeah, unless you do a full reset or log into a new computer. I'm pretty sure it's just that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I can't see PvP titles at all, because I turned them off in 2019, 2020. Turned off PvP titles just to see, I wanted just to see BatGasm. I didn't want to see Sergeant BatGasm, but I wanted Knight BatGasm. That would have been cool. But anyways, and now they went to the Dragonflight options menu, which you don't have PvP titles option in there, because in retail you can do it from your character titles from the character pane. So now I can't get PvP titles back on, right? So
that's
I have
hilarious.
to have some sort of console command for it, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, so it's coming out. I agree with you guys. I think it feels about right. And for the ZG coming out with Blackwing Lair, I think that's smart. I think it's a way to kind of incentivize people who haven't jumped on the SoD train to go ahead and come back now. And I think that's I think that's something that could really incentivize people to come back, because we were talking about it in pre-show. There's a lot of streamers that aren't playing, and you hear the same regurgitated remarks that well, I played it through phase 2, but it was just too retail light, and so I just decided not to do it. And I mean, you hear them just regurgitating the same statement without trying even phase 3 or phase 4, and it's a bummer. But hopefully, with enough of us talking about it, we can just get them to really actually try it. Because
hey man, that's how I got Hellbjorn. Hellbjorn was playing Kata basically exclusively, and I was like, dude, come on, you gotta come back for this phase of SoD. And he's like, all right, fine, I'll start leveling a little bit and see how I like it. And then 24 hours later, he DM'd me on Discord all right, I'm in. Well, all right, man, I'll try to get you into the raid.
We should be able to get him back because, at the height, a couple weeks after Kata came out, they were up to 316,000 raiders, but it's been a steady drop down to now 143,000 raiders. I think that those people could be incentivized, just like Hellbjorn was, to come back and give it a shot. And Hellbjorn is so happy that he did, even though he was so on the fence.
He was, yeah, absolutely. He was like, I don't know, man. Like, I've heard so many things. I'm like, dude, just try it. Just trust me. You'll like it.
Yeah,
God bless him for it. Because
if they do like the new raids, sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, you're good.
I think the new raids will be like the biggest like catcher. Like if they do Karazhan Crypts.
Oh yeah.
Like that'll bring everybody back. Literally everybody.
1,000%.
I'm not excited about AQ.
Like that. Yeah, me neither. Fuck bugs, man.
I don't like AQ. I don't like the trash in AQ. I'm gonna really be hammered on the devs like when AQ comes out. Please prune the fucking trash. Please.
Yeah. There's mind control shits and whatnot. Like, oh my god, dude.
It's just have less of it. I'm fine if you keep all of it the same. That we have to know our shit, but. Yeah, it was, dude. It was so bad. We used to seed. We used to use, a priest to go in and use their sight thing to go all the way through. Yeah, all the way through the dungeon, and then to see if we got the right trash packs because some were so much easier than others. And
if you had like 2 or 3 of the mind controllers in a pack, it literally was just a fucking nightmare to deal with. So he wanted to find packs that only had 1 or 2, and then just like literally that person would log out inside the instance and wait for a raid once they did that. Like it was a super big bitch.
I'm excited because I've never done it, but
like anything else is exciting at first, and then you're like, oh shit, this actually is kind of annoying.
Especially,
but I definitely think the flexing that they're doing for like how many people you can bring to the raid is an enormously good idea. Obviously the sweaties that want to parse, and I'm sure Warcraft Logs is going to have like different categories for this type of stuff. Like maybe you can't even parse if you have more than the, minimum or whatever.
I hope they don't do that. I hope they just do like, this is the legit parse for 20 people. This, 20 or less people. This is the parse for anybody over 20. Just so if you have a 25-man raid, and you want to do that, you can still do what I do and look at your number grow. It'll suck if it just like blanks it out.
And if you're actually like truly struggling with it, just bring more people. Like it'll even it out that way. If you want to see the content on the harder things, just like, all right, bring 30 instead of 20 and just fucking steamroll it. So obviously we'll have to share the loot a little bit more, but maybe that doesn't matter if you're getting more of it because you're doing the higher difficulties. So for people that want to, do that at like higher level stuff and see some of that, the other mechanics and whatnot, it's leaving them an option open rather than being like, well, we're stuck like where we are,
I can tell you if we had 25, my stress level would just completely dissipate and just be so much better. Because one, it stresses me out to leave people out. That stresses me out and bugs me, and I hate it. And I hate leaving people out. It also stresses me out when people have real life stuff, which happens all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to bring in somebody new because they're not going to have a spot when so-and-so gets back. And I need to I don't want to set an expectation. So now I have to tell this person, hey, this person's only gone for a week or 2 weeks. It's just a lot. Whereas I could just be like, oh, we can just add another player to the group and then they can still come. But it'll be a lot of people want to do the parsing thing. So it's going to be hard.
Yeah. I think they should just do categories. Say that again, Bat.
Sorry, what guild are you guys in?
We're in Swamp on Crusader Strike.
Horde side. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. Me and Killnine run we run one of the 5 raid groups in Swamp.
Yeah. And a couple of the raid groups in Swamp are. What's that?
Vendetta's in Swamp too, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's.
Yeah. Okay, I knew that.
Yep. And Bobka and it's the one Oppie created.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're probably one of 3 main raids. I would argue that the other 2 are kind of like alt raids.
Yeah, there's the BTC raid, there's our raid, and then there's the Super Sweat main raid that got 19th. Molten Core Heat 3 first.
Like in the world, yeah.
Worldwide. And then they got server-wide, I think it was second. Mm-hmm. And then NA-wide, it was like 8 or something like that. Or no, like 10 or something like that. Or 12 maybe. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. I kill for candy. Oh, Swamp, I hate those guys. You don't. You don't. You don't. We kicked the guys that were doing all the like shady shit. Yeah,
there was real stuff going on.
We had a handful of guys that were running pugs and ninjing everything. And once we found out Maui cleaned house, he just popped them out.
Yeah, we've drained the swamp.
Ninja looters.
Yeah, when you're such a big guild, it's really hard to control that. Like, it's kind of because each raid group is kind of really a guild in its own with just a hierarchy. Like, I mean, we're like Activision under Microsoft, you know, or Blizzard under Activision, you know, type of deal.
Marvel under Disney, yeah.
Yeah, and so it kind of depends, and so it really kind of goes on each of the raid leaders to watch their own crew. I will say my crew has never gotten complained. One of the guys that got kicked, one of the main ring leaders of that, was someone who tried to get into my raid, but I got weird vibes from him and didn't let him in.
Instantly got weird vibes.
I'm not going to give names, but I got bad vibes from him. I was like, no, you're not getting in.
What do you think were the red flags? As a new guild leader, what were the red flags that you saw there?
He was way too concerned about loot. It's all in language and the way that they present themselves. And then also I had heard some rumors about him doing weird stuff in Ubers. It's just
I would definitely watch out for too big of egos. I think that's a big thing. So it brags about themselves too much, kind of thing. There's one thing to like try to impress the new people you are, but like if that's all they're doing, that's all the only kind of conversation that they can have. Like that's absolutely a red flag.
Yeah, my dad told me when I was really young, when I was being a dick about how good I was at the game with a bunch of friends over at a slumber party. He came in, he was like, "Shut up. Nobody cares about how good you are. Nobody wants to hear you tell them how good you are. If you're really good, other people will brag about you. That's what you should work towards, Bob." And I was like, it stuck with me. I mean, I think I was like 10, like playing Nintendo. Like, and I think I was playing like Street Fighter 1. And yeah, I was just like, it had stuck with me. And like my friends looked at me and was like, basically we're nodding.
He's like, he's
right. And I was just like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I was just excited about it and wanted to tell people, but I think that's what
resonated.
A lot of people are like, they don't realize how annoying it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one thing, like, if you're going to be trying to, like, get into a raid and you're talking to the raid leader, like, hey, can I come? Like, here are my credentials. Here are my parses. Like, I've done this, that, and the other. But when you're in the raid itself and people just want to shoot the shit and have fun and kill the bosses, like, you don't need to say a fucking word about, I did this speed, you know, like, that kind of stuff.
Well, and then also be wary of those guys that are like, I heard this on Countdown to Classic and Josh said it, and I thought I resonated with it so well. I was like, he goes, that one fucking guy that's just chiming in when loot's going out going, are we really giving this, and this to a shaman?
Oh, I fucking hate that. Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, we ain't fucking a parse guild. Like, we're not one of the, unless you're top 1%, it doesn't really matter. If they can use reserve, it's fine.
And that's what they wanted to use their soft reserve, and they won the role. It's theirs. If they want to fucking it, I don't give a shit. That's what they chose to do with their time and what they chose to use their roles on. Like,
but those types of people that put those little comments in, just get rid of them quickly because they're not going to help anything. If you have two people, like a lot of this is regurgitated from what I agreed with on Countdown to Classic, listening to it. But if two people fight constantly on Discord or in raid chat, kick them both. Like, you don't want that type of bullshit. Like, you want people that when they have a problem, they go to guild or raid leadership and they talk
or
to
just
them
take it to fucking
and then,
DMs and leave us the fuck out of it. You know?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That would be nice.
So it's just like you just have to kind of watch the culture. And yeah, it's been new for me too. I mean, I ran a guild back in original Wrath, but running this raid, I'm still learning. And luckily, all through Classic, I had the most amazing raid lead and GM in Harskar, and he taught me. He's so much younger than me too, but he taught me so much more about being a better person, even not just a better leader, but a better person. And it's just.
Some people have it, man. They get like I've had people like that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know exactly everything we've done, but we've built an amazing raid team with really good people that are having a good time. And I couldn't tell you the special sauce, man. Like just a lot of trial and error. And sometimes I had to do some really tough things. I had to kick a really good friend who was a horrible distraction and problem in the locker room, you know, in the raid. And I had to let him go and say, sorry. And it killed me, but it made the raid way better. It's the bottom line. Like, so a lot of hard choices that suck, but you got to think about all the other people, you know, the other 18 people besides just your friend that you really want to keep in. So
I think it helps a lot that we also have a decent portion of the like group just like kind of looped into what's going on, like the tanks and whatnot. Like we have our, you know, what we call the officer chat. It's like 8 people. Like it's literally almost half the raid in that chat. So most people know what's going on. Kind of the decisions are being made before, you know, they need to be announced to what I'll call the general public. So like everybody's, you know, willing to contribute. Everybody's making decisions together. You know, we'll talk about things. We'll, you know, it makes it so it's more of a democracy. I mean, I guess I should probably more call it an oligarchy, but it's more definitely like not a republic. Yeah, it's definitely not a dictatorship, and I would absolutely shy away from ever making any raid a dictatorship, because that's just when you run into problems.
And that's the whole reason I made that whole council chat group, is because I didn't want to fall into that trap of I'm the boss, applesauce. You know, like I didn't want to. Like I want to learn from other people, and I want to, you know, be able to ask, like, okay, so I'm leaning towards this, but how do you feel about this? And I've learned a bunch, you know, and like we have a little, like, usually weekly ritual where we go and build our roster. We do it together, like in group chat, and like people help me. They're like, oh, but what about this buff? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I didn't think about that, you know. And it's just, it's a collaborative thing that's worked out really well for us.
And, you know, we'll be like looking at logs like, okay, this person might better fit from the crit better this week. And like, were the healers really that struggling? Like, do they actually need the resto buff? Like, you know, like that type of thing. And we all work together and try to just make it as good as possible. So that way we don't have to even talk about it when we join raid. People just join raid and I move people into groups and it's just done.
And we never pull bullshit, you know. Like we never change rules mid raid. Like for instance,
that would be horrible.
We really needed our tank, Kef, when he started, because we had to switch tanks like week 2 because of the people I told you I had to kick, right? And we really needed him to get gear, but I didn't want to hard res anything for him. But when things like the Ani head, for instance, dropped, and I was like, guys, this trinket would be huge for our main tank. And like everybody had rolled, and I asked the people that had rolled, you know, that rolled higher than him. I was like, dude, are you okay to pass this to him? And it's okay if you're not. I just want to let you know it's okay. But are you okay? And like that puts the choice in their spot, you know, and most of the time it's worked out. Sometimes no, but like that's okay. It's their choice, and we didn't change a rule mid raid.
Yeah, if they're like,
I think
go ahead.
That can go poorly very quickly, though, because yes, you're not like you say you're putting the choice in their hands, but truly not. You're like, I'm in charge. Like, you have the power. Like,
are you saying that he's influencing them?
Yeah, I'm saying like he has the power. He makes the rosters. He does all that, right? So like, if he says
it is totally influencing them, yes,
yeah,
it is.
It's a power play though. It's using your power to get what you want without forcing it.
Do you really want the guy that says no in your raid? Although the only one that did say no is still in the raid, so it's not a deal breaker.
So I think people would think that we're going to retaliate if they were to say no. The fact is that we wouldn't, and we haven't.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can absolutely see why they would think that. Like, oh, like I don't really have a choice here, do I?
Right.
But no, we haven't and will not retaliate. That is not the type of people that we are. And I want to make that look very clear to any listeners that happen to be in our raid. If you say I don't want to give up this item, I was really counting on that hit, or I really need my 6-piece or whatever. No is an okay answer. Like it always is. We're asking to ask, and maybe a better way of doing it would be like, hey guys, like this piece like could drop from this boss. It would be really huge on our like main tank. If you have a problem with it, DM me and say that you have a problem with it. I won't say who it was, keep it anonymity. And then we're like, okay, so it's not going to happen. Right. Like,
right.
I think that would probably be the way to take that kind of pressure off. Go ahead, Bet.
That literally the whole example just happened to us a couple weeks back. Right. We asked somebody in the raid if they wanted to pass on a piece of gear for somebody else. And it turned into a whole ninja looting accusation scandal, right? Which has been funny. We leaned into it, and it's a meme now, and it's really funny and everything. But like the idea, like you shouldn't even ask him that, man. You're clearly pressuring him. Like those are like exact quotes, and it was this whole big drama thing. And I was just, I don't know. For me, I still look at it like that all may be true, I guess, but I guess I'm still looking at like a video game, and it's all like monopoly money to me. So it's like, if you just don't like, just say fucking no. I don't give a shit, but like, I think it's okay to ask, but I get the pressuring stuff. But also, like Bob said, like if you really want the guy that says no, or do you really want the guy that will fold to that pressure? Like I want people in my guild that would be like, nah, and that's what the guy did. He goes, no, I need it, and we said okay.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I think if I did that to a new person who hadn't raided with us phases 3 and 2, they probably would get a different idea of who I am. But I think I've shown by consistency that I'm going to try to take the fairest route. And Killnine is right. Like we should have done those things prior. Actually, I think the Omni head I did do prior. I did mention it prior
I'm pretty
to the
sure
drop.
The Omni head was, but there was other items that Kev got like that night that we did this kind of a similar thing, and it wasn't necessarily.
We just didn't know we were going to do that. It was kind of an on the fly thing, and I really tried to showcase, guys, it's okay to say no. It is okay to say no.
Also, how much does that pay dividends? Kev got his 4-piece. He could do like the Fan of Knives like threat, and like
it's helped everybody.
Enormously. Like the dividends of that paid was like,
and I think the people that said okay, I think they understood that. I mean, it was I think Hellbjorn passed. I think Gribble passed. I think these are different. These are people that really understand the game and understand their tank being, set up means that they're better set up.
Oh yeah, like warriors absolutely know that. If my tank can't hold threat, I'm dead. Just flat out dead. Like,
yeah, for sure. There's
never been.
It's
just the people that you have in your raid, right? Like you've got the right people in your raid, then it's not a big deal. So I'm not saying that I would have been offended if you had said that to me, but I know that there are people that would have been offended.
Yes.
That was my biggest point there.
Absolutely.
There are definitely people.
And people getting offended for those people too.
Yeah, exactly. Where like the person themselves like, nah, dude, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but you shouldn't have done that to them. It's like,
the guy ended up joining our. He was a pug. I get that, but like that's our content is pug content. He ended up joining the guild, and he's in the guild still and raids with us now, like semi-regularly. But I can see how it could be taken that way. But for me, at the end of the day, it's like, dude, it's a video game, dude.
Yeah.
That's what, dude. And people, it's so funny because people really think that I'm going to hold grudges and stuff because they'll be like, dude, I'm so sorry. I can't make it this week. I swear I'll make it every other week. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, it's a game. You're good, bro.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but I want to be in there. But I was like, yeah, but you told me prior to the raid quite a bit. Like, it's not like you no called, no showed, or told me 5 minutes before the raid. Like, you're good, bro. Your spot's gonna be here when you get back.
And
You're on maternity for this week.
The raid, even if they did tell us 5 minutes before the raid, if like with a sufficient like emergency, like you don't even have to say. You can just say emergency, and like that's fine.
Oh,
You're
yeah, definitely with that type of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
I'll say
If it becomes a pattern where they are doing it all the time, then like, yeah, I'm going to replace you eventually.
It starts trending. My biggest thing is just being told at all. Like, I'm even okay if they tell me 5 minutes after the raid. That's just the vibe of our guild. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are super fucking casual. Like, but it would not being told at all does kind of suck. Because I'm sitting there waiting on them, to get there. But if you can just log in and be like, hey, I know I'm late, I'm not coming. That's all I need, man. Like, you can still keep going. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't give a shit.
And it'd be even more of a less deal if people really get onto this flex rating deal, and we could have like groups of 25 and maybe parses are 25 and lower.
Yeah.
So why can't you? Well, hold on. I'm sorry. I don't parse. You can't parse. And I've heard this before. Someone said that when like you're getting the flex rating and whatnot, it takes away parsing. Why does it do that for?
Warcraft logs. It's their choice. Like, they're a third party site.
Okay, but can't you parse better the quicker the fights are? So technically, if you had like more people, then you would parse
better.
Yeah,
yes.
That would be considered cheating in their eyes. Is that of course you're going to annihilate a boss in 20 seconds, so you have 40 people killing it. Like,
why don't they just have 40?
My Starfall would basically not ever be on cooldown because it's just dead during my Starfall, and then my DPS is going to be like absolutely at its max, right? Like that type of shit. So
parses are only for 20 though. You could parse at 10 mans in the first phases, and now you can parse with Sunken Temples.
Yeah, but I think
it's because there's no set raid type. So there was 10 and then there was 25, right? So like it was like if you have 27, then you're in this like weird, like, do you just parse against other people in groups of 27? And how many people are actually
for every level, right?
So if you have to compare on some level of normality, and that normality should be the minimum, is what most people argue, because anything other than that will be difficult for people to like kind of accustom to. They said themselves that the content is designed for the minimum. It's designed for 10 man. It's designed for 20 man. So if you bring 27, you're killing the boss, whatever 30% faster. Is that fair to the people that only brought 20 that you're fucking annihilating them in DPS because like your cooldowns were up more percentage of the fight?
Right.
Where were we?
Parsing.
Yeah. Parsing. So it would just be nice if they actually make parsing on the other things viable, like maybe make there a 25 bracket, a 30 bracket.
That's what I was thinking. They could do 20, 25, instead of going from having to do 25 or 20, 21, 22, 20, just make it like by 5 or by 10.
10 would be the most reasonable, I think. You do a 20, and that's obviously like the baseline. That's what everybody's going to actually look at. But like, then have a 21 to 30, and then a 31 to 40. I think that would be completely reasonable to do.
Yeah, and all you're looking at that point is just to see how much you've gotten better.
Yeah, because I use them personally as a measurement for myself. Like, oh, I got Talisman of Ephemeral Power last week. How much better are my parses because I'm snapshotting my Moonfire and my Sunfire now. Oh shit, they went up like a decent amount. I must, that must actually be mattering. I can now look at the logs and how much damage those are doing. I'm only if there were heavy problems in the raid am I really digging deep into like the raid logs themselves. I'm mostly checking out myself, looking in the mirror.
Yep. And you got another 99 this week too.
American Psycho.
Yeah. Well, I mean that part of it is. Yeah, part of it is. I mean, I'm raid leading, so like if stuff goes wrong, like obviously our Lucifron pool got messy immediately because we lost two of our main big DPS off the rip, and I had to like. We
were also trying something completely new.
Right.
We swapped the tank roles to help our off tank because being an off tank sucks. Like you never parse. And so we tried to help swapping about. The main tank, Kef, didn't pull the ads far enough from the team, so we got a lot of mind controls that we don't normally get.
So, our positioning was just off. 2 over a big DPS died. I want to keep everybody else safe, They died, like, right off the rip. And I was just like, was okay, we're focusing now. Like I'm basically just pressing my buttons, barely looking at them. Calling out decurses, calling out dispels on whichever people, and like that affects my parse, obviously, because I'm not just. Ideally, I don't have to say a fucking word in the boss fight because most people know the bosses at this point. I mean, we've been running together. It's been mostly the same people every week. The only couple things we might have to talk about is like on Ragnaros, like who's going to be standing where.
Kicks, things of that nature that change a little bit.
Yeah, kick assignments and tank assignments and things like that for like Sulfur and Harbinger and.
I'm sorry, you keep going. I'll do it after.
Yeah. So the really truly easy fights to parse on are like Golemag and Magmadar, where there's nothing to be said. Like they're gonna tank the main boss and they're gonna tank the ads. Everybody go ham. Like just fucking kill it. Like.
Yep, and we use this is what a lot of like super sweats use. But you don't have to be a super sweat to use this. I'll post it in chat here, and I'll post it for the Twitch chat. But these are sheets that just help other people see where they need to go, the rotations, who's going to heal, who's going to do Trank Shot, who's going to do Fear Wards, who's going to do kicks. And like you just can use this with raid helper, and you can just put your raid ID in and it fills all the people in. You just have to do the drop downs and click who's going to be on kicks. Blah, blah, blah.
Enormously helpful. Yeah.
I've never seen it before.
Oh yeah. It's great. And it's what we use. And again, so that it helps me be like, all right, this is the boss. Everybody look at the sheet, look at your assignments. Let's go. I don't really need to do like, I'll reiterate it on kicks and stuff, like just to make sure. But
what add-on do you use with this?
It's Raid Helper in Discord itself. So for like the signups.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah. So you can use the Raid Helper ID with that Google Doc, and it'll automatically put shit in.
If you go to the dashboard tab, and then you click at the top left, you'll see the Raid ID right above player name. So if you go to Raid Helper and your raid's there, you can double click. It'll be like raid helper.dev/event/125 You copy that whole number, put it in, it'll autofill the names in for you. And then all you have to do is just assign people on the different boss tabs.
Yeah. So you just click on each. Yeah, you click on each tab for each boss, and for under tanks, the people that are marked as tanks, you can drop down and just click their names, and it'll autofill everything for you. It's crazy easy to use.
Yeah, I'm gonna play with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will say though, that is one you won't be able to copy.
Right.
It's if you can get it by going and doing Patreon with Jordy for $5.
Heard.
But like I just put the link that you can't copy. You could copy it line for line if you wanted to, but I don't want people to rip off Jordy and all his work. So
no, I need to get I don't even understand what I'm looking at. I would have to start learning. It'll take some time to even learn from the ground up.
You should.
Yeah.
And if someone's making it, we'll absolutely support the creator.
Yeah, and Bat, if you want to, one time off stream, just like I can help you go through it. Like you just share your screen, I can help you like go through it. One day,
cool. Definitely
cool. But yeah, so should we move on? We've really tangented.
We've done quite
a bit. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on. All right, so Emerald Wardens sell new items now. And they sell a herb bag and an enchanting bag for like the recipe. They sell the recipe for the emerald. What are they? Emerald chips?
Emerald chips. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
everybody threw these away.
I saved mine. I did save mine. I saved mine
because I knew this was going to fucking happen.
I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Sorry.
You lucky bastards.
I skipped on mine because I knew this was going to fucking happen, that they were going to do something with it down the road. So I have like 300 of them or something. So that means I get how many bags? So they cost 5 each. So yeah, I'm going to be rolling in it.
How big of a bag is it?
Their binds when it picks up. So
yeah, but you open it and you get whatever mats out of it. You just fill the mats.
They're mats.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like an enchanting. Okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood that.
I can get like a
goodie bag.
Throws and yeah. So it's gonna, destroy those markets, which I think is a good thing. Nobody wants to be fucking running around herbing, and
I think it's a great thing too. Shit. We're freaking using consumes and BGs because they're so cheap. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is gonna make it even easier. So yeah, I have like 300 of them, and if they're 5 each for each bag, yeah, I'm gonna be able to make all of my potions forever. Just off of that.
That's cool.
So I know who to ask if I need anything. I won't feel bad taking restorative pots from Killnine and Raid anymore because I forgot those.
I already hand them to you every week, so don't even act like that's something you've been worried about.
It's been really eating at me, Killnine. It's been just really killing me.
Yeah, I can tell your conscience has been weighing heavy.
Well, also, in other news, another form of currency, the Firelands Embers are going to be used. Going to be able to be used to purchase basically mats from Blackwing Lair, or not just Blackwing Lair, but it's like essence of air, essence of water, fire, earth, blood of the mountain, which is really slow to drop.
Sell for a lot though too.
Yeah, they're for 30.
Those essence of airs are going to be huge when you have the plus 15 agi enchants to gloves that you guys are going to want. I think you need a crazy amount of them. So you guys are definitely going to love that happened.
Yeah.
Because those are definitely one of the more expensive and more bitches to farm. Again, it's just, another way for people to get mats. Just going to bring down the market. I think it's a good thing. Nobody wants to be farming all day, every day to just raid.
Yep. All right. And then next in the news, we have, they changed the PvP damage reduction. So the way it reads is PvP damage reduction. Players now take 30% reduced physical damage from other players and pets, was 20%. And 40% reduced magic damage from other players and pets was 20%. Now, I believe this is a typo, because unless they stealth changed it, I can tell you for a fact, the blue post before, when this change first came in, ended at 20% physical damage reduction, 30% magic damage reduction. They wrote 20. They wrote was 20%. I think it's just a typo. It was 30%. Prove me wrong in the comments if you want to. I'd love to, but it would have been a stealth change.
It's only a 10% nerf, not a 20% nerf, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Which I praised it when we talked about it on the podcast when they changed it before, because I was like, they need to have a bigger magic debuff than physical.
Yeah.
And because, you have to get close to people. Yeah. Well, you have to get close to people to do physical damage. So
it has nothing to do with the fact that you do physical damage, I'm sure.
It doesn't. That's how lots of people think. That's not how I think. That's the thing.
Okay.
Unfortunately, hunters are like about this. They're like, fine, I don't give a shit. I'm hitting you with a chimera shot and I'm technically doing all 3 types of damage or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. See, I don't even know. I think technically chimera shot is magic. I don't know. That's shamans and hunters are weird because some of their moves are physical, some of their moves are but I think this is a fine change. I mean, also
needed to happen.
Yeah, the health buff is also bigger too. That was a stealth changed a couple of weeks ago in Altaric Valley. I mean, I was doing Altaric Valley last night, and on my rogue, I had 10.2k health. Now, I did have a Flask of Titans on, but still, 10.2k. That's Wrath of the Lich King numbers right there for my rogue, health-wise. So, can we get some more food, Agred? Cyrene?
I think our main tank in Karazhan had 10k health, and we're like, holy shit, man, you broke 5 digits, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they do the PvP reduction? It was at phase 2 Didn't they do one of these? Was that phase 2?
Yeah, and that's where they tried a bunch of different things, but they settled. That's why I said I think the was 20% was a typo, because they settled on 20% reduced physical, 30% reduced magic. And here it says it was 20% reduced magic. Right. So I'm just saying, but now what it is now is 30% physical damage reduction, 40% magical damage reduction. So that's
did people like it in phase 2? I don't remember. I thought
Yes.
Some did, some didn't. Necessary. I loved it. I can talk for me. I loved it. I thought it was a great change.
If they didn't do the health increase and the magic reduction, I would literally one-shot people with Starfire and BGs all the time.
That was happening. Yeah, right.
Also, they don't talk about it at all here, but also what they ended on in those changes in phase 2 was healing PvP reduction by 20% also. Because the first thing they tried was increasing everybody's health by 40%. And that weekend, Arathi Basins were ending with the top killing blows being 5.
Yeah, nobody would die.
They were 30-minute games because nobody died. Like, it was absurd. And that was the wrong course that they did. So I think this is fine. I think this just makes your fights last a little bit longer. Like, yes, you have to change your strategy up a little bit. I'm sure backstab rogues are going to be pissed that they can't, global you. Like, but that's a good thing. So
yeah. No, absolutely necessary. Good thing that they're adding as the power levels increases. We're getting another tier 2. Like people are just going to be hitting even fucking harder than they already were, and the health pools aren't going to scale in the same manner. So yeah, it's necessary. They're probably going to keep having to do this as the phases go on. Even like I imagine there might be 50% and 30%, or 40% or whatever as we keep going on. They're just going to have to, because our power levels, if they keep going in the direction that we are, we're going to be doing like literally like fucking 4K DPS, and we're not going to get that much more stamina to make up for it.
And I think this is a way, way better system than resilience, because I love the fact that anybody gets this same boon in PvP
here, right?
Whereas resilience gatekeeps in the fact that there's been plenty of times I just didn't PvP in different expansions because I was like, well, I don't have time to get the resilience gear, and it's just not worth it if you don't have it. And so I think this is so much better. But is there any resilience lovers here? I'd love to hear the opposite take.
I don't do enough PvP, especially when resilience was added to really.
I mean, it definitely felt good coming from the other end, where like I had full gladiator gear, and like I would go to a battleground and absolutely dominate as I fucking should, because I have the PvP gear. I put in the work for it. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of arena, under my belt to have earned this thing, and I should be able to reap the rewards of it. So like, I would do things.
You'd rather have people to play with. You know what I mean?
Well, like, so
maybe I didn't do it.
Be things like I would go to Ultralac Valley, and I was Alliance at the time. Go to Ultralac Valley, and I would defend Stonehearth Bunker, that first tower that Horde would try to take, usually with like 2 to 3 people. Sometimes a little bit more than that. But I would solo defend it as a gladiator rogue, just fucking killing literally anybody that walked in. And like, even if they had brought, a couple or 3, sap blind and, use my superior health and resilience.
I know all about getting murdered by rogues.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You're literally in the rogue chat right now, right, dude?
And so that felt good to you.
Everywhere.
And you
good to me. Yeah, exactly.
And you felt good about how much time you put in to get that benefit. But anybody else was just like, why do I even try?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think, because PvP is such an afterthought for a huge part of the player base, I think it's a good thing that this is across the board, and I like that a lot.
I think for the general public, this is a good change, because we don't have arenas. There isn't putting in the effort in thousands of hours arenas and whatnot to get something like this. If they put this in for like Ultralac Valley or whatever, like nobody would give a shit, dude. You're fucking just running down and killing Van or killing Drek. Like you're not actually PvPing to earn this reward, right? Like you're just, maybe even fucking just flat out AFKing. So yeah, for the sake of season of discovery, this makes sense. With arenas having existed, I think Resilient needed to exist at some level.
You think so? Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I disagree there, but any other thoughts?
I think gating, like you were saying, is overall, because again, like maybe that's why I hit PvP a lot more. Like when Resilience started getting added, it's because I was like, fuck it. I'm not even going to worry about it. So I think this is like what's best for the majority kind of a thing, right? But yeah, I really don't know much.
I definitely think they overdid it at some level. That like I would have liked, there were absolutely like priests that had resilience cap that like I just fucking couldn't crit anymore, and it was actually impossible to kill them. Like, and they would literally just Shadow Word paid me and just survive for like 10 minutes of me wailing on them, and just eventually I died, and that shit feels bad. Like, obviously, like,
you ever watched two druids?
Oh, the priest gets to kill the rogue one time, and all of a sudden the rogue's like, "This game's not fun." Like, come on!
You ever get to watch?
They took it too far.
Two resto druids go at it after their DPS dies in TBC.
It's like an 11-hour game.
Yeah,
they had a Mock Geralt, the PV Mock Geralt thing. They had two druids fight each other. That was fun to watch. Yeah.
Well, but that was in classic though. We're talking about TBC with tons of resilience and they even can't do any damage to them. It's literally forever.
It was, I think it was an SLSL lock versus a druid. It was the same thing. The SLSL lock was just, constantly healing himself. The druid couldn't do enough damage to him. The lock, because he does dots versus hots, there was effectively no damage ever happening. Like, it was like a fucking 10-hour game or something. It's crazy.
And nobody wants that. Come on.
Yeah, no. It's like, I'm gonna go to work and I'll come back and you're still fucking playing.
Make some content out of that somehow, but yeah, like that'd be a good YouTube video.
A 10-hour.
Yeah, just
it'd be like one of those ASMR videos that you fall asleep to, right? Like,
the never-ending story.
I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I know the dog's name.
Atreyu.
Yeah,
Atreyu.
Man, that's all. Wait, no, Atreyu was the kid though, right?
No, it was the kid was reading about Atreyu and his adventures. It's a good movie.
Oh, I know it was a classic. Yeah, I missed it.
Okay, so that's there's a whole bunch of class changes. We're not going to go over the class changes, guys, but the link will be in here. There's a ton. If anybody has one they want to talk about, they can, but I'm pretty much there's just a ton of little tweaks and stuff. I think we could probably skip it. But now we can't skip this one. So we got the Realm Consolidation update. Finally, they teased us with this, telling us there was going to be one mega server. Then we're like, information. Nothing. And now we have it. So I thought that the biggest servers, PvP and PvE, were going to be the server that they sent everybody to. There was a lot of people that said it wasn't. But it turns out it is. It's going to be Crusader Strike and Wild Growth are going to be your mega servers. Is this a fair change? No, guys, it's not. It's not fair that everybody on the bigger servers that don't have to move, don't have to be inconvenienced. It is not fair. Is it the right call? Yes, it is the right call.
Totally agree, bro.
Yeah, it's because are you going to really make the servers that are already flush, doing good, and healthy uproot everything? No, it's not fair. It's not fair at all, but it is the best thing we could have done. I'll open the floor, whatever you guys want to say.
I have one. I don't want to again rant too much, but I did write a little note for this when I was trying to prepare for this podcast. I'll say I think it's all good things. I think it's the best way to go about it. All MMO servers besides retail, that keeps progressing on, ultimately end up becoming, they die ultimately, or they become white main, right, on Era. So like we're in the final kind of like stretch of SoD, and are we going to I think it's great to group us up as a one big community, SoD community, to go over that finish line into obviously AQ and Nax and carries that. I think we have some time, but like this is like the final like probably life phase of SoD, right? And I would rather do it together than with all these little communities, right? People come in my chat all the time like, hey Bat, looks like we're gonna get to play together soon. And that's like, oh shit, we are, and that's what gets me hyped,
which is cool.
That alone gets me hyped up. But it's totally not fair. If I lost my name, that would suck. If all that kind of guilds, it's like moving, you're gonna lose a couple socks, no matter what. Right. Even if everybody says they're gonna go, like you're gonna lose some guildies. But I think it is the best thing for the end of SoD.
And I've tried to add those mitigating factor for the name fiasco, right? Like right now you can't create new characters,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the name reclamation is also a huge thing that I think a lot of people that are even on this server already are appreciative of.
Yeah, do you want to explain that for people that don't know what that is?
Sorry,
I can do it too. If you want to do it, you can. Here, I can do it. So basically, this is a thing that's been in retail forever. This is the reason when I log into my retail tunes, my names on all my tunes are W83512W56. I don't think they're actual numbers, but they're it's like
placeholders.
I think they are numbers because you can't enter the game until you pick a new name. And basically my name has been taken, and this service, the way they're going to implement it here is anybody who hasn't logged in since Phase 4 dropped is eligible to lose their names on their tunes. So if somebody transferring in picks the name that you had, it's going to give you a placeholder weird character name, and they're going to get your name. So that's what that is. And I think that's a good thing because there's a lot of people who have quit and just aren't even playing WoW and are, like this just makes it so you can have a name that they might have been keeping.
Yeah. Like if you're going to do this, if you're going to do it this way, which is the best way to do it, I think it's absolutely. Like you got to throw them something, give them a chance to get their names and stuff. Right.
Yep. Now, one thing I've been hearing, and this has been toted by my boy Kago, I think Ebonheart said it too. There's been a lot of content creators that have said this, and they're my bros, but I have to tell them, hell knows. Okay. A lot of people are talking about it's not cool, it's not fair that people on PvP servers are not allowed to go to Wild Growth. They have to go to Crusader Strike. And that is a must, period. I don't care how big a population says, I want to be able to go to PvE. A Grend and multiple devs came out on Twitter, Blue Post, and everything. When SoD started, they begged you not to do PvP server. They begged you. They told you it was not going to be a good time. They literally spelled it out for you. We did it on this podcast. Other content creators did it. Everybody did it. You chose to be on the PvP server. Now, the reason this is important is because they have kept their promise and the PvP servers are all still balanced. So if everybody's coming over, we need that balance to stay. Meaning we can't have you go into a PvE server. Does that make sense?
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
So because every server that is PvP is 50-50, when they all accumulate on this, they will still be 50-50 just based off how the ratio.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
So if we have a bunch of people offloading or onloading, then that ratio gets immediately fucked.
Yeah, and the PvE servers aren't. So like here, it's just you just add them and it's still 50-50. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that makes sense. Then yeah, keep doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, they've given the option for forever for people on PvP servers to move to a PvE server. I feel they probably should have never given that option because that option breaks servers. You know, people need to live with the choice that they made, and especially in SoD, you were warned. You were warned so many times. And
yeah, they knew the power levels of stuff. Like they knew what was going to be coming, and they knew that it was going to end up this way. And they told us. They straight up told us. They didn't lie about it. They didn't fucking mince words. They said, "Don't do it unless you really, really want to." And everyone's like, "No, I'm not a pussy. I'm going to do it anyway." Like,
yep. Well, and J Lazy 260 in chat says 1 server with war mode, job's done. You obviously weren't here at the start of the show because we talked about how dog shit war mode is and how it's not a good thing and how it was a bad move by retail and yada, 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 yada. Go back and listen to the start of the show. Yeah. Dude, this whole show's opinion. That's the whole point, you know? Yeah. I'm not saying this is a fact.
Yeah, I don't know shit.
Yeah, like I just love how everybody always makes the thing, retail solved this problem, and then I go, retail changed something. It might have solved the problem for you. It doesn't mean it solved the problem for everybody. Like,
I will say I always thought the idea of war mode was cool, but I haven't played on it, so I can't really speak, you know.
I mean, it's just literally like opening up for other people to like
I would also be one of those
choose
people.
when they want a PvP, and that's not what a PvP server is. A PvP server is dangerous and scary.
Right, I agree. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Like I need to go get this quest done, so I'm going to turn off war mode, and so I can do it safely. That's not the point.
Like Mel was saying earlier, like I think how many people would actually like turn it on just to go questing? I would do that because I like hardcore WoW. I like old school shit like that. But yeah, most people probably wouldn't do that.
No, like they would do the safe things when they want to be safe, and then be like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go fuck with other people's day. Yeah, I'm turning it back on." And like, I take
actually not going to like that.
None of the risk, right? Like that's
they're not going to like that either because they're going to end up turning it on, and the only other people they're going to be able to fight are the other people that are turning it on, wanting to PvP and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, well, this isn't as fun because I don't just get to gank people," which is really what I like to do. Is gank people and ruin their day. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even fun for those people.
Maybe if it was either Bob or Steve earlier that said, maybe if you turn it on, not being never allowed to turn it back off again or something. In EverQuest, sorry to keep bringing, I know it's a show about WoW. When you started on PvE realms on EverQuest, there was an NPC right when you started your character called the Priest of Discord. And you had a book, and you could turn that book into the Priest of Discord. And it made you kill KOS on most city guards. So you couldn't like really go into the cities at all. But it also made you could PvP other people who had also turned in that book.
Well, and
I think
maybe if war mode was like that, like consequences.
I like that. Like, I kind of like the way Turtle WoW did, as it was explained to me, because I haven't played Turtle WoW, but as it was explained to me by Meldrod last week, I kind of like that you decide you're going to be war mode, and then you're stuck in Turtle WoW, right?
But consequence. Yeah.
I think it sucks because other people can go. Like, I feel like you just shouldn't be allowed to do world PvP ever if you don't choose that option. And then that would be fine. You would walk by, you would see somebody who's not flagged, and you'd be like, oh, dork. Okay, you know, and then you just go on with your day, and then they couldn't heal anybody, they couldn't interact, like they were just basically, you know, the NPCs of the PvP realm, right? Like that would be fine, but the fact that they can just choose to jump in, nah.
Jumping in and out it would have to be one directional and permanent. And I mean, that's what they did. They made servers that do this. So choose whichever server you want.
You can group with them, I guess, but
right.
Okay. Well, I feel like we talked that discussion to death already.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, was there anything else about the fear? Like, do we fear that this was a little too close to BWL release and like kind of puts a lot of guild leads and stuff on some high stress? Because I was high stressing about this move. Like I was high stressing about talking to each and every one of our raid people and helping them make the transition. Like I was freaked out. So I'm sure
finding other new names, all that.
Yeah, people are freaked out.
Yeah, that they have exactly 1 week to figure out who all transferred, what their new names are. Hopefully people are coordinating through Discord or whatever, but your guild's now absolved. You need to make it again. Any alts that you had in there, or bank alts or whatever, need to get rejoined and renamed. And, people might kind of have like the muscle memory of like, oh, I'm sending this to the guild bank. Well, that guild bank name might be taken and you're going to send it to the wrong fucking person.
Dude, when we moved from White Man to Benediction, everybody changed their name except for a few of us. And dude, it was so hard to remember who was who at that point.
Yeah. It's gonna be a clusterfuck. I mean, it just is. And
I'm glad I started.
It was something I brought up earlier that I'm a little bit worried about, not entirely terribly worried about. We are the guinea pigs for this new technology, this new mega server technology.
Oh, this is what you wanted to bring up before,
This is the season of discovery. They're discovering we're not only discovering new runes, they're discovering how to test shit on us. And this is it. And it more than likely will go pretty okay, but it might go catastrophically bad for a couple of days. We don't know. Like when they bring literally tens and hundreds of thousands of people to one server, it might just fucking crash. The layering might not work at all. Like all kinds of things might make the game basically unplayable for the first 24 hours while they try to iron some shit out. And I want people to be aware of that. This is us. We agreed to this when we agreed to sign up the first season of Discovery. We could get fucked here. And so, when we're already going through a big transition, like, everybody consolidating and trying to get their names and things like that, some of those services just might not fucking work. Some of these things that you're like, oh, at 9:00, we got to all get on, make sure we can snap the name of the person that we want to get the name for. And it might just not work. The services might be down. Login servers might get fucked. Like, we don't know all the different things that could go wrong.
Oh, yeah. And it's just a week prior. Yeah, that's my whole point, is that I was like a little scared. I feel for everybody that has to move. And I'll reiterate, it's not fair, guys. It's not fair. A fair world would be where we all move. But that would be a dumb thing for them to do, in my humble opinion. Just working in IT for, 20 years, like...
yeah.
Like I'm telling you, it would have been horribly bad, but this does definitely give us a credit and it makes our life a lot easier. And I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry for your plight, but I am trying to point out that it is a plight and it is rough for you guys. And I hope that everything works out for everybody moving over. And I hope it is smooth.
It'll be worth it when everyone's playing together.
It really will be. You'll be able to find so many better everything, dude.
If pugging's good, then so much of the if the pugging's healthy on the server, then everything's better. I feel like.
Yeah. If you're not already using LFG, the LFG add-on,
that's a must.
The LFG filter add-on, you're going to need it now.
There's just no if you are on a small server. Yes, you're going to have.
There's just no fucking shot that you'll be able to even look at LFG anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I stopped looking at it years ago.
Selfishly, I'm just excited that we don't have to deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And that was very much to Bob's point. Like, it isn't fair to them. I'm like, fuck yeah, we have to remake our guild. We have to do all this shit. I'm
sorry I chose the right server the first time. That's not my fault. I feel like, I'm getting rewarded. No, I'm just kidding.
We were talking about, in the officer chat of, when we remake the we remake Swamp, is it gonna be Swamp, or are we gonna name it the same thing? Is that gonna be already taken? by the time we get there, because people hate Swamp, they might try to get in there and snipe it just to fucking spite us, right?
And dude, there's raid leaders we've kicked from Swamp that were bad apples, and they're like most of the people spreading the stuff too. It sucks being in a big guild because there's so much misinformation.
Yeah,
have a backup ready.
So yeah, but we don't even need to have that conversation anymore because they're coming to us. So fuck off.
Right, yeah. It does feel good to be on Crusader Strike. I won't lie.
Yeah,
it is. And guys, if you've been on like a smaller server, you're going to just be like, there's Molten Core, Heat 1, 2, and even 3 pugs going on constantly on this server. You are going to have a good time.
You will find, you want to do a Sunken Temple, you want to do a Gnomer, you will find groups. It's always happening.
It's now leveling, that's not really a thing right now. Like if you're on the open world, but it's because everybody's just through the zones so fast. It's 150% to level 50 and then 50% from level 50 to 60. I mean,
I will say though, if you want to get into it now, because you can't create a character on Crusader Strike right now, right? And when does it open?
The day.
September 19th.
19th? I thought it was the day of.
Oh, no. Sorry. Tuesday, September 17th. And then so the character creation will turn back on September 19th, but the free character transfers start September 17th.
Oh, okay.
So they just don't want people logging in and saving names.
No, I get that, which I think is good. I think I'm actually very glad that they thought about that.
Yep.
But I think if you are getting the itch to play, right, just make a character on another server right now, start playing, and you can free transfer with everybody else. You know what I mean? Like,
and bring over resources. Like, I mean, why not?
Oh yeah. Like, why it's empty over there.
You can only bring a certain amount of gold. I forget what it is, but you can bring as many resources as you can fit in your bag
They didn't remove that cap, because that would feel really bad if they didn't remove that cap.
The gold cap, I don't know. They've changed it on so many different times at different expansions. I have no clue what the cap is.
Well, create characters on your other things and free transfer them over. Just like fucking spread out. Jesus Christ. Like, it's not that difficult.
Yep. And if you're really savvy and you have an alt, keep one of your alts on the old servers. Nobody can make tunes there. Go farm shit and then give it to a level 1. You're going to be able to move characters for the rest of SoD free to Crusader Strike and Wild Growth. Unless they make a level cap of some sort, why not have a farm, an herb farmer or a mine farmer on dead servers?
Yeah.
Well, because you're not going to how are you going to get that to the new server?
You make a level 1 and free transfer it over with the crap on it.
You're not going to be able to create new characters on those other servers.
Okay, well, the way I read that was you're not going to be able to create new characters if you don't have a character on there. But maybe if it is that you just can't, then hopefully you have a lot of level 1s so you could do it 7 times, 6 times, right?
I think that's right. I think that's what I thought I read, because then that's why I said before we knew it was on Crusader Strike, I was like, well, we're gonna have to move to wherever, because if someone in chat comes in and is like, I want to play with you, I don't want to be like, no, sorry, you can't create a new character.
I'm not reading anywhere that's saying that you can't. Maybe after a certain date you won't be able to, but what's stopping you from creating a bunch of level 1s now and keeping them there?
Yeah, sure. And then slowly getting rid of them. Yeah.
See, this is how we ruin the systems. This is why we're bad people, right?
I'm just trying to make my fucking enchantments cost less. I mean,
I'm just saying.
All right, so we're gonna
my potions for less, man. Fuck the economy.
We're gonna move on to new account-wide Rune currency added to Season of Discovery Phase 5. So I guess there's these new emblems that you can use to send alts to get runes. This seems very convoluted.
It seems to me, and I don't remember which of these is which, but it seems to me like it's mostly the group required ones that, like, who's trying to go kill the dark horses nowadays? Like, nobody, right? But I think that's one of them.
You'd have to wait till you were like level 60 if you wanted to solo that on certain classes.
Right, exactly. So that I think is a good thing. I think leaving a bunch of them out is actually sort of a good thing, because a lot of classes have like some flavor in getting their runes, and like for instance, like a bunch of the druid ones are like you need to use swipe and kill them in like 5 seconds after using swipe. It's actually kind of teaching you to play your character better in some ways. Like the rogue stealth missions are teaching you to play rogue better. Like I think there is
to play
some
the stealthy
validity.
part of rogue better, dude. The rogue stealth ones were some of the best runes in the game. Like
Shadowfang one is my favorite. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
there is some
I don't know. I
validity in
laughed
just
for like
fucking doing
15 minutes straight when I put the disguise on in Scarlet Monastery. I literally couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, that one was good too.
That was Shadow Step, right? Yeah.
Is there only 9 total that are bind on account?
This is just okay. So this isn't a blue post. This is data bind stuff here. So we don't have exact clarity of what all this is going to entail. We just see the new items being added in and know that something's going on here. And some of the new items are bind on account.
It very well could be more than this, and there might be even like a kind of thing where like it's a more generic currency where like I buy this emblem of the violet eye and I send it to my rogue, and he can buy one of a few different rogue or runes based off of which ones he maybe doesn't want to do or doesn't want to farm, right? Mm-hmm. They might do it that way. More than likely it's going to be like this, the kind of the group ones that nobody wants to do anymore, because I do think that, you know, they've said this in the past about Season Discovery, that like the new flavors for the classes is kind of an important thing that they're going for.
I feel like nobody wants to do any of the runes anymore, though.
Oh, they definitely don't. But like they put in the fucking work, you know. It's nothing to do with them like wanting to or not. It's so that like we put in the work to fucking hide these things all over the place, and like you guys did it once. We're like, fuck you guys. Like, no, you guys are gonna do it.
I love doing it in phase 1, but yeah.
I have been on the train, Bat, for ever now. It feels like saying that when you go to the next phase, any new character you create or any existing character has all the runes from the previous phase, period. Mm-hmm. I have been a huge supporter of that. I would make a new tune right now and level for fun is if I just automatically had all of the runes.
Oh, dude, your power level would be fucking bananas.
That's why it'd be fun. That's why it would be worth. Like I don't want it all, but it would be so fun to do that.
I think
like
it's
maybe at the end of the seasonal server.
Yeah, go ahead, Bat. Sorry.
Well, it's just like at the end of like when the Matrix Online, and I'm always bringing up other MMOs. I'm sorry. When the Matrix Online ended, like that last little bit, they just let people go fucking bonkers. SoD is seasonal. SoD's going to end. We may have like 5-6 months, maybe a little bit more. Who knows? But like it's on a lifeline, right? Like, yeah, like let's fucking do it. Let's just have
Let me actually grab you on that, because I think a lot of people hanker on this, like with the SoDs coming to an end. Classic 2019 came to an end too, guys. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could go to Era, but Era was dead for a year and a half, right? Like, it all ends, guys. Like, it all ends. And yeah, like maybe you'll take it to the next expansion, but how much does that really matter at this point? Us playing it through again.
Well, I think we pretty much assumed that TBC was going to happen, so people kind of planned for that future. We didn't know, but everybody's like, "There's no way they're not." Like, you know,
let's be real.
They were playing as if it was going to happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that.
They made it very clear that this is a season that these servers will be deleted at a certain point. So,
well, no, they did say that you will be able to stay in, like you're not going to lose your character. There's going to be a place for it to go. And now we know where that place is. Crusader Strike is going to be the SoD era server for PvP and Living Flame for PvE.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think that like, and I don't want to ramble too much, and I'm saying that for myself. Like, I don't want to get too abstract on it, but like,
we're rambling, man.
Like,
so
I'm a rambling man. Like the way like I played MMOs for so long now that like back in the day, like it felt like this character was going to last forever and do all that stuff. And it's just like the time invested in on it. And now I'm playing MMOs way more thanks to hardcore. Hardcore is my favorite way to play WoW, like ever, and always will be.
Hardcore's made me okay with losing characters.
Exactly. This is a finite thing. I don't have to play an MMO to last another. Back in the day, it was like, oh, a game that never ends. Wow, that's crazy. Now it's like, oh, dude, a game that never ends. Like, you know, like I like it ending. I like being able to move on from it.
Never ends sounds good in concept, but
yes. And it's like, I'm okay with like getting people like, well, I don't want to get in there and put all that work. And then it just ends. So like, well, that work is the game, right? That is the fun part. And it's okay to log on and play for a couple hours. And then if you're not liking the class, go play something else or whatever. So like, I think like the finite of it is what's, you know, kind of I like about Season of Discovery, you know?
And they say that like, you know, it's the friends you made along the way, like especially with classic, like leveling is the game. That is what they designed and spent all the man hours on doing is the leveling process. And you know, when you know the end game content came out, like you know, statistics say like only a small percentage of people even actually did it. So like they didn't really like attune their dev team to be worried about literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people doing it all the time, every time and getting bored of it. Right. They tuned it to be something that only the highest of achievers would even ever see and probably not even get all the way through. And that's something I think that a lot of people need to like think or remind themselves about. Like the game is the friends you made along the way. And it's true. I wouldn't have met Bob and Mel and you, even if it wasn't for World of Warcraft. And I think we should all be thankful that like this is a game that was brought us together and like kind of take a step back and say, yeah, like we care very much about this game, but like it really is a thing of a community more than anything else.
That is well said. And like SoD, I mean, everybody bitches about the stopgaps between the phases, but
love them. I like them.
I loved it too, but a lot of people bitch. But it's so funny because the pre-questing stuff opened up an avenue of the game that I had never tried before outside of Elite Quests. And that's the 5-man quest grouping on PvP servers. It would be kind of lame on PvE servers, I'm not going to lie. But on PvP servers, running with the freaking homies and running with the group and feeling safe in a dangerous world where Alliance could be around the corner at any minute and like having your buds there and like, I mean, doing quests together, it was some of the most fun I've ever had in the entire game. We talked about this a few weeks ago about like how, you know, they basically like they take away your EXP. They have these quests that you have to have the drops and then they're not shared drops. So everybody has to get all the drops. So you're incentivized not to group in the open world when it was so fun pre-questing. And the only reason it ended up happening is because the quests were so hard. You couldn't do them at level 25 without a group. You could, but with a lot of screw ups. And it was so cool. And they should incentivize you getting in a group and, you know, doing that in the open world outside of dungeons. And so, yeah, it is about the friends you made along the way. It sounds stupid, but it's the fucking truth.
Man.
You're being in Discord with the boys and be like on an elite quest and like we're in a cave and like, all right, I'm about to pull. Are we all ready? No, wait. Hold on, ally. Go, hold on. Everybody turn around. Like we got to fight. Like, you know, it's.
And Mel being like, come on, guys. We don't have to fight everybody we see. Let's move on.
If you're in a cave and you're about to pull an elite boss and then an ally group comes up that needs that elite boss, they will absolutely just fucking wipe you. Yeah, that is 100% true. And it's true for both sides, by the way. Like I'm not saying only ally does it, because of course Horde does it too.
It depends on what character you're playing, yeah, for sure. When I'm Alliance, it's fuck Horde, but when I'm Horde, you know, it's I feel like MMOs started as just like chat rooms with graphics pretty much. So like these social interactions, man, like that's why I do the guild the way I do the guild in the raids. Like I care way more about those social interactions than that's what's fun for it. Otherwise I would just go play a different game, right? Like
and technology's obviously made it so like we can see each other's faces even. It even makes it even more of like an interaction and like more a human experience. And you know, I talk to these people on our guild forum and in Ventrilo or TeamSpeak or whatever. And that's, I never actually can put a face to the name because nobody had smartphone cameras back then. Nobody could even realistically take a picture of themselves if they wanted to. They'd to like fucking scan a
that's not true.
Polaroid.
No. That's not true. I had a Game Boy camera. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You get the 8-bit picture. Yeah.
Those are my selfies.
You're muted, Bob.
You're muted, Bob.
Well, just know that I was reminiscing about the Game Boy.
Yeah.
All right. So this next piece of news, I'm gonna skip just because it's like a whole bunch of data mine stuff, but we can talk about what it's telling us, and that's telling us that we're gonna be able to mix and match tier 1 or tier 2 set bonuses. So if you really needed your tier 1 set bonus, because there's a lot of stuff that's really needed, like think about rogue tank, like there's stuff that is needed. You're going to be able to kind of switch those around. I wish I understood it enough to explain it to anybody. I don't know if anybody here does, but I don't know enough yet to explain it.
It's going to come down to the SMEs for each class to like really kind of figure out like what's going to be needed in what situations, I think. I'm going to kind of let that happen. I don't have enough brain power with like my job and running the raid and whatnot and like worrying about, BWO coming next week to like worry about like what my BIS is when that's not even I'm not going to get my BIS in 1 or 2 weeks. Like I do not care to look at it until somebody posts a list that I can just look at. And I'll definitely put that on to the content creators to do.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening. That sounds awesome though.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a great idea because, like, for like rogue tank, like giving up like the fan of knives, increased threat and damage or whatever is like insane to give up. Like, how could you as a tank, right? Like,
you get to choose which bonus you want. Like, what does that mean?
Yes. So the way that I read it is like you can upgrade your tier 1 to like tier 2, but it just acts as tier 1 still. It's just.
As far as the bonuses, you can apply your bonuses to the tier 2 from the tier 1 bonuses. If you want them more, because some specs are going to lean towards different ones.
Right, but you wouldn't be able to have like the 2 set bonus from tier 1, but the 4 set bonus from tier 2.
I don't know. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
We have no idea.
Yep.
I don't know, I guess. If you want knives, I can just make my gloves and my bracers Night Slayer. And
but you don't have to though, because you're going to be able to put those bonuses on tier 2.
On Bloodfang,
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's going to be interesting how it works.
You might actually want multiple pieces of tier 2, one that's like a tier 1 tier 2 and one that's a tier 2 tier 2 based off the fight that you're doing. And, it might encourage people to have like multiple sets based off of different fights or whether they're AoEing or they're not AoEing or they're tanking multiple or not. Like there's a lot of information that's going to come out from this. I think it's a good change because there's absolutely like some dog shit tier 2 bonuses that everyone's like, fuck that. Why would I want that over my tier 1? Right. So I think it's a good change. I'm going to leave it up to the people smarter than me to figure out whether it's good or not for my class. And deal with it then. You rogues are lucky you have Simon Eyes. He's gonna be working his fucking ass off to figure this shit out. And
thank you, Simon Eyes.
Yeah, dude, he
shout out to the boy Simon. He's the fucking homie.
He's the leader of the rogues, man. He's the rogue leader.
Yeah, and I'll be waiting to the Druid Discord, as much of a mess as that can be, to see what they think about some of these set bonuses.
All right, well. With that being said, we're going to move on to, and I know BatGasm's going to love this.
I do like this.
Bob,
do you have a Steam Deck?
We need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right. So for discussion this week, we're using voicemails. And yes, I do have a Stream Deck and a Go XLR. That's what I do.
Sorry, I thought that was you. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought it was you talking. That's funny.
Oh no, it's a sound bite. I could also
switch it up on you here too, and just
that's cool.
I don't know if I'm talking like I forget if this is gnome or orc.
Those
no,
gnomes.
this is the other one. I don't know if this is gnome or orc.
That one's orc.
For the horde.
I don't encourage this behavior.
That's awesome. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, Mel doesn't like it at all. We'll just be hanging out, and I'll be like, Mel, why are you being so weird? And she just won't talk to me. And I'm like, Mel,
because I'm not going to buy it for him.
Mel.
I'm like, you can't use it against me if I bought it for you.
It's so funny though. It's just like, Mel, it's
okay. You did the opposite what you thought you did.
Yeah, I thought I had it on, but I've got all kinds of stuff.
For Nomragon.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
All right, what do we got for voicemails?
Right. Voicemail. Here we go. We got Mega Man here. He's been waiting for this.
Bob, Mel, hello, it's Mega. So, kind of a fun little one. We don't know what they're going to do at the end of SoD. We don't know what they're going to do with characters. The only thing we know is they're doing something, and they're not going to Classic Era. Probably for the best. But I read this, suggestion, hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, on the forums a couple of weeks ago, and it sounded interesting to me, and I think it could be a little tinfoil hat discussion. What do you guys think about the idea of them doing SoD TBC? I mean, to me, that sounds amazing. Can you imagine SoD characters in TBC? Like, just, that sounds amazing. It'd be interesting to see, like, what Blizzard would do with that. There'd be some weird problems, like rogues having access to 2 shadow steps, which I don't know why you do that, and paladins having 2 crusader strikes. I'm not sure how they would mess with that. But, I mean, arenas, like raids, I mean, just the idea of tanks being able to hit 10 targets with their AoE abilities in the TBC environment by itself is madness. Would it be chaotic? Absolutely. Would it be insane? Absolutely. Would anyone that actually just wants a straight copy of TBC hate it? Probably. But still, I'm curious what your thoughts on that would be. I mean, would that make you go, why not? Let's see where the insanity goes? Or was it like, no, just no. Hard stop. Too much. So that's kind of what I was wondering about, because I think about that. And like, for me, I think that sounds awesome just because I'd be curious. Like I said, the tomfoolery. I just think of all this stuff that could happen. It'd be interesting to see if they actually would try to make Warlock tanks viable and Rogue tanks viable in the TBC environment too. How that whole thing would pan out. It'd be very interesting to see. Anyway, that's pretty much what I had to ask. Hope you guys have a great show. This is Mega Casual. Sign out.
I'm gonna let you guys go.
I think the short answer is that it just won't happen for a lot of the reasons that he said. First and foremost, the power levels will be so fucking off. We're already doing TBC numbers. Right now, we haven't even hit BWL. Like, they would need to like completely rescale everything. I don't think they have the team or the time to do that as also with the different like runes that they've already put in for certain classes like Shadow Step and stuff. I just don't see it happening. I think it's a fun thought experiment. I'm happy to talk about that, but there's no way that TBC SoD is happening.
Anybody else?
I just don't think it's a good idea. To be honest, I think people are thinking about SoD as like something like expansive, like it's going to keep going, and it's not. That was never the intention. So when you say like do TBC SoD, like in my opinion, if you were to do a TBC SoD, it would have to be a completely new season that was just TBC and everything was reset. Like everything was different. Everything came in like new. You didn't have the same runes. You hadn't already gone through classic SoD. Like that's the only way it would work. If it's just continuing on to TBC SoD, that's silly. I think that just doesn't flow with the seasonal aspect, that doesn't make it just doesn't make sense to me. So I think in essence it's just not anything that I think we should be thinking about.
I think it would make it more sense to do a seasonal TBC server that started as TBC and everybody started level 1 and you could level to 70 and into phase 1 and 2 and 3, and they would be able to deal with the runes and stuff a lot more like streamlined than, turning what they already kind of made it. Like, we already have, 3 runes per slot. There's no way that we can go in to another expansion and have like even more than that, and like, the meta becomes absolutely insane to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. I think that first I want to say that was an awesome voicemail. That was a good voicemail. That was entertaining. Yeah. So good job, Mega Man. But I'm having a good time with SoD because it's my first time raiding, really, and I'm just in that honeymoon phase still and down to bosses. So I would be personally okay going into TBC. But I also do agree with what Mel and Steve were saying. Like, it doesn't fit the theme of it. It's not what it was started as. I would just personally be cool with it. I do agree that it doesn't really fit the theme, but I think it's more so just like the team size, right? Do we want TBC SoD or do we want Classic Plus maybe, or something else? You know what I'm saying? Like, they would have to go all in or do something else, and I'd rather see what the something else is. So
yeah, so for me, I'm in there with you guys too. I honestly, TBC SoD sounds horrible to me. And I'll be honest with you guys, TBC and Wrath sound horrible to me. It's funny because when I first started this podcast, I talked about it on like episode 1. My favorite expansion is Wrath. Second is Vanilla. And third is TBC. And then I quit in Kata. But what I've learned is that it's not Wrath or TBC. It's only Vanilla for me that is the best. And I'll tell you why. So SoD, I literally play all the time. And I did play a lot of alts prior, right? But now I haven't even worked my my hunter. He's still level 58 with a bar left to go. He's got full rest to 60. I don't care to even level him to go raid because my time is taken up so much in the game outside of raiding. And what I found out when I went to TBC is that when I went to TBC, everything changed in the new TBC, like classic TBC. In classic 2019 and 2020, Mel and I played all the time. And we played all the time outside of raid. We raided 2 days a week, 3 hours. We played constantly outside of raid. I've done that for the entirety of SoD. I've played outside of raid. When raid's over, I want to go do something else fun. When raid's not going on that day, I want to log in. I want to hang out with the homies. I want to maybe get some like fire res stuff from over here. Maybe help somebody farm Fell Striker. Maybe help, all these different things. Do PvP, yada, yada. In TBC, it turned into me raid logging and/or
it's the beginning of the end for that type of content.
Yeah. And/or playing Arena. And then in Wrath, it turned into me just raid logging. And yes, I did make 7 tunes and I raid logged with 7 tunes, right? But that was all I played of the game. I literally would get my gear out of the raid, go enchant, gem it, make sure everything's set for the next time I log in, and I wouldn't log in until he had another GDKP. And that was all I did for Wrath, was just raid log. And I had a ton of tunes, but I raid logged. Now I feel like I am Blazzinbob, the undead, gross, skin falling off rogue, and it's fantastic. And I realize all the other expansions weren't good. they didn't incorporate the old world. They screwed the old world by making every bit of every mat you collect, every ore you collect, everything you do in the old world means nothing. And everything's all in this new little expansion area. And we could fly. There's no PvP. There's no bottlenecks. There's nothing. Like, and it sucked. And so that's where I'm at with that.
Flying definitely affected PvP servers in a big way because it just made the level 70s able to gank the non-level 70s that much easier. They could just lean on them and fucking murder them. They wouldn't even fucking see them coming. Like they couldn't, like, if they were a rogue, like, oh, there's a higher level coming, I'm into stealth and like maybe he won't notice me or something like that. Now, like, PvC absolutely annihilated that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, we went from having both entire fucking continents to just having Outland, and nothing in Azeroth mattered anymore at all. Yeah. So the world PvP basically got destroyed. I mean, I loved it for what it was, and I was a PvP Andy, so I loved arenas, and so like maybe I'm thinking of it with like rose-colored glasses because of just that. But like for people that didn't care about arena, I could absolutely see you just like raid logging because they're like, fuck that, like there's nothing to do.
I would have much rather the first expansion be Bizarro Azeroth, and it's just you go through a portal and you're now in level 60. All of Azeroth, and that's where you leveled. And some things in Azeroth in that timeline might have changed. Like you might have a hole in the Orgrimmar wall, right? Like from a battle, like you could say it phasing. Like that's what I feel like expansions should have been. And I don't know. I'm also not a fan of, I don't mind Blood Elves at all. I can't stand Draenei. I think it's just, I don't like mixing sci-fi with Tolkien type, fantasy. I like sci-fi. I just don't like it mixed with World of Warcraft, I guess.
I hear that a lot. Yeah. I personally don't mind it, but I do hear that a lot. But
a lot of people do like it. Yeah, it's just for me.
Frank Frazetta vibes. He's a fantasy painter, and he would paint like a lot of fantasy scenarios and like space moons and planets behind. So it was Flash Gordon kind of. Which
I think it's probably people who are really into Warhammer. Although I do love Warhammer lore and stuff.
Yeah,
it feels like it fits better for me in that universe than it does in World of Warcraft, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, we're playing World of Warcraft, which is essentially Dungeons and Dragons, the game. I mean, that's at least what they like basically intended it to be. A lot of the spells and stuff that we cast are lifted directly from Dungeons and Dragons handbooks, and they turn them into like 3D modelable things, and things that actually work in the context of you being able to move constantly rather than only at it on your current turn. But we are playing Dungeons and Dragons the game, so like you said, I think aliens, so that doesn't make sense. Like that's never what it was intended.
I don't mean to cut. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve, but I also do think that like Warcraft was based very heavily off, even more so than Tolkien, right? Every fantasy is based off Tolkien, but more so off of even Marvel. Duncan Jones, when he was making the Warcraft movie, would do interviews about that. And obviously Lord of the Rings would get brought up, and they'd like, but a lot of people forget Marvel and those early, look at the Warcraft 1 manual. I still read that sometimes. Like there's a lot of comic book inspiration there. Even the freaking shit going on with War Within, it's the Eternals, it's the same fucking thing. But
so many quests have like just different references to pop culture and stuff nowadays. Like, I mean, the original baseline of what the game was like, we have hunters, which are rangers. We have mages, which are
wizards,
and priests, which are clerics, and we have warriors, which are.
They did it better though in 2004. Like if you look at,
I agree.
Metagoblin. If you search his videos, he has like quite a few good like pop culture references. Like you guys are probably too young. Do you know the movie Kroll?
Oh yeah,
I'm aware of it. I've never watched it.
Where he's got the he's got the glaive that he finds. He could throw it and it'll attack and it comes back to him, but he finds it in molten lava.
Was that Kevin Sorbo?
No, dude, it's like a fucking 80s sci-fi fantasy movie.
Oh, I thought it was the sequel to Conan.
Oh no, Cruel. I think it's Cruel, Cruel, I think. But they have that in like the glaive is in the lava in Molten Core. Like
that's awesome.
That's one of the references, and they're all over the place. And they did that well, I thought. But
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I look at Warcraft, and I had to like reconcile this a lot because like I would always like try and take it super seriously. I'm like, well, this is still also the universe of the gnomes in Warcraft, right? Or like even since Warcraft 1, there's references to other things. I look at it like Saturday morning cartoon fantasy. It's Lord of the Rings, but it's Saturday morning cartoon. You know, like they have guns. Harris Pilton is in Shattrath, right? And again, like from the very beginning, like, anyways.
But maybe it's just the Dryad I think are.
No, I get mixed in. I do sometimes. I'm like, but
space goats.
Yeah.
For me,
I think part of your enjoyment is the people you've surrounded yourself with too, though. I feel like in SoD, you've had a closer group of like real life friends plus new friends that we've made. And I think that differs from your
you're talking
experience
people that'll
in TBC.
do things even though they don't need it. Which is what we didn't have in Classic prior. We had people that are like, "Oh, if I need something, I'll help you."
I'm not trying to start an argument or anything like that about that. I'm saying, do you think that has an impact? Like, if you were to go and play TBC with these same people, do you feel like you would enjoy it and find things to do? Because it's not that there is a lack of things to do.
I would
in TBC and Wrath.
We would just raid log. Like that's where I'm at.
What I'm saying is that
I live in the world of Azeroth. I've never lived in TBC or in Wrath.
You will not listen. So thank you.
I'm answering your question. Yes, I would find enjoyment raid logging with those same people.
I'm saying I think you would do more. I think you guys would find things to do. I think there is things to do in TBC and Wrath that you would do if you had people that were wanting to do things. Like there's a lot of reps, there's a lot of different things.
Hold on. What do we do? Sure. The biggest part of what we do when we're not raiding, we go in world PvP and fuck with people all over. That's impossible in TBC and in Wrath. Like people will just be able to get away from you. They don't need to go there. They could fly over here. It's not like, we would find stuff to do, but we would get bored very fast. It wouldn't feel real.
There are dailies and stuff in TBC, and that would obviously invite, world PvP at those locations. As you're like fighting for lost hits and resources and things like that. I think the gearing system in TBC was a little bit more streamlined in that like people sure needed like items early, but like once raid started, there was no going back for, we need this fire resistance item and this and that in the same way that happens in Season of Discovery. Now, maybe if there was a Season of Discovery TBC, that would change things and that there would be that kind of dynamic. But, we're obviously talking about things that are mites.
Right.
But yeah, as far as just like traveling across the open world and just doing quests and stuff, we're flying. There is no danger until we're landed, and then the danger is somebody lands on us and we're dead. There's not the PvP in the open world is a lot more kind of fucked. It's great while you're leveling and everybody's leveling and nobody is flying yet. I actually loved that part of TBC when I was leveling, is that the open world PvP. We're both level 64. We just got some new abilities. Let's try them out on each other, kind of thing. But like once everybody's 70, and that no longer matters because it's just whoever gets the jump wins.
And then it's whenever the race is great, but then a week later, when a lot of people are 70 and you're not, they're just dive bombing you and farming honor, and it's like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, that was definitely the worst.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
The actual good players would just be in their dungeons and trying to get their heroic keys and stuff. But the pieces of shit would absolutely just be dive bombing you and killing you with their newfound flying mounts, right?
I didn't play enough in game to. I was leveled. I didn't start raiding until SoD. I do think I don't know if this is too off topic on it, but I do think like what he was saying about going from classic to TBC to Wrath, even though I didn't do in game in those times when they were out, like I do feel like by that time, just like online gaming becoming like such a more mainstream thing, like people stop. I think whether you're a retail player or a classic player, that we have proven with 2019 Classic onward that like it doesn't matter. You're going to try and skip leveling process as much as you can. Everyone's going to try and skip leveling. So buy Wrath.
Everybody wants
people are just wanting to raid log. Yeah, like buy Wrath of the Lich King because the leveling magic kind of wore off, and that's why I think fresh servers or new expansions, or whatever, will always be will always have the replayability because people love fresh server experiences.
Because then you're forced into it with everybody else.
Yeah, War Hardcore.
Only once you're not ahead of the curve anymore that you're fucked in your you're leveling by yourself in these zones a lot of the time, right? Or maybe you can find like one or two people to like help you do an elite quest at any given time. But I think mega servers will actually alleviate a lot of that because so many people might want to be leveling alts.
I think it would be cool if they like really. I'm not cutting you off.
No, you're not.
Okay. I think it'd be cool if they really increase the fucking goal, like not from 300%. Like make leveling 1 to 60, make you like relatively wealthy. It's like the best gold farm in the game is just the level from quests. I think
I think that actually would be a kind of
everybody be leveling because that's how you get. It wouldn't make you wealthy enough to break the economy, but it would make you like, hey, this is by far the best way to do it.
Yeah, like if you could make like 3K gold from 1 to 60, that'd be enough. Like,
yeah, dude, that would be fucking sweet. Even maybe a little less, but anyways.
Maybe 2,500 would be enough. Maybe a 2K. That number would need to be thought about and tweaked a little bit because like how many man hours are you putting into leveling from 1 to 60 versus how many man hours like would just going and picking herbs be in making a similar amount of gold.
It would need to be the incentive.
The benefit of leveling would be that you're not fucking picking herbs for 20 hours.
Exactly.
You're leveling.
And then you want to group more because you want to get the quest done quicker. And
on a mega server that we're gonna have, there's gonna be more people there because more people are gonna be leveling alts, and maybe it kind of makes more of just a healthy server in general.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for your voicemail, Mega Man. It definitely sparked conversation.
Thanks, Mega Man. I appreciate it.
And let's. Okay, so this one is 2. Unfortunately, when people... Okay, so I didn't tell everybody. The number is 816-866-1066 or go to speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. Unfortunately, calling the number, you get 3 minutes. Speakpipe.com only gives you 1.5 minutes. So he left 3 voicemails, but I'm only going to play 2. I feel like I have to cut people off at 3 minutes because sometimes people leave literally 7 of them, and it's a 10-minute segment of the show for their point. I'm sorry, guys, I can't do that, but we're gonna play 2 of them, and I think the third one was just reiterating the point, but I think he's got some good stuff. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to like stop it for a second and start the next one, but here's the start.
Sure.
Hello, Warcraft Reloaded team, long-time listener. First of all, very bomb podcast. Look, I'm listening to it every week when I'm like on work trips or something like that. Really makes the long car drives a bit more bearable. So on the whole topic of like friction that is always being brought up, that as the hallmark point kind of in classic versus retail. In the whole development process that we are kind of like find ourselves in right now in regards to like a Classic Plus and what would make a Classic Plus, I always feel like people are afraid of the kind of like the convenience features that we got with retail. And just as a background, I started with original TBC, played every expansion minus BFA and Shadowlands. and right now I'm playing mostly Season of Discovery. Why not use RPG elements to slowly implement those convenience features? Instead of instant party forming and being teleported to a dungeon, we have Hearthstones, we have those summoning stones already. Give people some kind of like Hearthstone equivalent, let them run the dungeon 3 times, they get attuned to the dungeons, and now they can use the summoning stone. Now they can summon themselves to that stone.
You muted.
Hi, Warcraft Reloaded team again. Mirasina here. Really quick for like a part 2 to finish my earlier point. Yes, what do you think about adding RPG flavored elements to slowly, not completely, but like introduce like those features from like future expansions, like easier ways to travel to a dungeon, if it's not gated, but if it's implemented in a flavorful RPG centric kind of way, like for example getting a stone, attuning to a dungeon over multiple rounds,
like this.
and then by that getting the ability to port yourself to that meeting stone, and if 2 people for example would be attuned there, they can port themselves there and then port other people there, but they could not automatically do the same. They have to run the dungeon a few times first themselves, get attuned to it, to then do the same. So you have still friction, because you would have to do that for all dungeons, kind of. So like until you're able to like port yourself everywhere. But if we look at something that is very popular in a classic context too, pre-bis grinds, for example, you want to go back to the dungeon anyway. You run it a few times, you get attuned to it. Now you can get there a little bit easier for your pre-bis grind, but the friction is not completely removed. Looking forward to hear your people's thoughts on this.
So
that's an insanely fucking good idea.
I thought it was great too. I thought it was great. It's like having
everybody in your friend group needs to get attuned to everything. You know, if you have like a couple of people like, oh, I'm attuned to, you know, Dire Maul, so I can get us there. Like, oh, I'm attuned to Sholomits, I can get us there. Like, you know, and having like a little bit of that spread. And I think that's like probably one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time. That's insanely good idea, and especially wrapping in some kind of RP thing that, you know, obviously he said that he's not like, you know, gonna write himself, but like, yeah, you need to do the dungeon, or you need to find something in the dungeon to be attuned to it. That makes so much fucking sense. It's crazy.
It's like the sleeping bag, kind of. You know, you can teleport.
Yeah.
And like
a little bit of a chain, but once you have it, you're saving so much time in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But it's worth it to go get it. I think I'll always be in favor of ideas like that.
What's that, Mel?
We didn't didn't talk about this specifically. This is a new idea that I hadn't really
on one
thought
of the podcasts. On one of the podcasts, we talked about like, what if you had to unlock the
meeting stone,
summoning stones?
We did, but like it was not sold well.
It wasn't presented like that was. That was a fucking elevator pitch if I ever had heard one.
Yeah, this is you. Oh, here you go.
No, I just, yeah, that's all.
So this is something like you have the Uber's key, like, and you would have to have an item for each of these things, I feel like, because that's like the type of friction that's a pain in the ass. And it's hilarious when people forget these items. Like, and I get to make fun of my best friend Crispix every time, Buck, from you know, the guy that's doing Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom podcast with me. Check it out. Give us a follow, guys.
A little name drop.
But yeah, like I make fun of him all the time because he forgets everything that he needs for different things we do in the bank. It's like he doesn't have his Cache of Amari. He doesn't have his trinket to get into Demonfall Canyon. He doesn't have his light to collect the stuff in Fellwood. He doesn't have, you know, all these different weird shit. But it's like having the
Mel has everything on her and just no bag space.
So people would.
Well, hold on. I wasn't done. Mel interrupted.
Sorry.
So this is the same as having a key. Now, I think he talked about running the dungeon 3 times. I think no. It has to be like an Uber's key type of deal, like where a boss drops, each boss has a chance to drop this one item that people have to talk about and be like, can I have the jewel? I'm almost done with my Uber's key. Like, that's kind of fun. Like, and then once somebody has it, then your time's easier. Like, oh, well, I'll come if somebody has an Uber's key. Like, this would be, I'll come if, somebody could do it. I still don't think I would want them to warp you to the dungeon, but I'd want that to unlock me being able to, like, and have it on a cooldown too, like, so you can't abuse it, right? But I could bring certain people. So, like, I feel like it's a slippery slope, but if you just added a little bit of flexibility, like you could use it twice in an hour. So you still needed, like, some people to go, but you could get them there quicker. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is kind of cool.
What I was worried about is just people using it as a summoning service basically all over the entirety of the map. And if you make it unlimited, then that's what it would be used for. So 100%. You would need to either make it so they, you need hard. 2 people.
They would have to have like max level characters, right?
You need to like make 2 people inside, and you can summon the 3rd and the 4th, or the 4th and the 5th, or like. There's something along those lines where it's not like I'm just like summoning. Somebody can just stand there that got this item early and just like is selling fucking. I can summon you to Ultimate. I can summon you to fucking Westfall. I can summon you to wherever.
Yeah, the cooldown would be needed, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the first thing I thought about with the idea, but the idea is solid. I like it. I like it a lot. I love
the fucking shit out of that idea.
Maybe
Absolutely.
like a scroll, like the mage scrolls, right?
You're talking about a usable item, right?
You can consume it, so like you have to run the dungeon to get more of them or something.
That's an idea too. That's an idea too.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah, like you kill Van Cleef and you get like a scroll or 2. Summon one other person there. Right.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, tell that.
That's crazy good idea, BatGasm. I actually like the fuck out of that.
I like that a lot.
I like both of them, and why not both? Like, and I'm talking about how I love to play my maid, and my maid's got so much extra gear that's niche, and it's because I'm playing him constantly. What if I could just keep getting him more things to be like, yep, I can warp us there if you want to do that. Yep,
exactly.
I can warp us there if you want to do that. I can do that. I can do that.
Those are always my
it would be cool.
Thing,
yeah, it would be really cool to have those different things.
And I'm notoriously a one character Andy, so yeah, I'd have like fucking 19 Cholo scrolls or whatever to like just summon anybody. I think the friction is definitely an important part of it. Like, I think one other person would need to be there, but like we will need a lock or a lock closet or something. He definitely made good points about like the friction being there, being a necessity
and
of
earning it
the game.
Yeah, your character earning it, and I'm gonna say straight up, no, you can't give that to your alt. Your alt can't do that once you do it.
Exactly,
it's what your character could do, and if you want to log into your alt afterwards and get him there, cool. Like,
it's kind of in the game already, though, guys. I think that's because how they had some guildies run me through on my alt for my sleeping bag quest. And so whoever has a sleeping bag, it counts as being rested. So you park somewhere, you get in the sleeping bag, you get rested, and you can buy scrolls to teleport.
Mages can, yeah.
Oh, it's only mages?
It's only mages.
That's a mages thing.
So just, make that,
Make that make that a thing.
I thought it was for everybody, but
I've been bummed that it's only mages that could use those scrolls, because I thought it would be a pretty cool thing to be able for us to buy a currency that would let us do that. Like, I thought that would be really cool.
Yeah, if the mages get the scrolls and like they'll pay to like decrypt them or whatever for you, and maybe it's like kind of a gambling system, like in the same way like a lockbox is. Like, hey, I'll tip you to undecrypt the scroll, kind of thing. And the scroll could be anything. It might be a polymorph, it might be a teleport, it might be anything. I think that would be kind of a cool thing.
That would be cool too,
because that's how scrolls work in D&D, right? Like, I mean, you you get a scroll, you can cast a spell, basically, right? So
if you get a rogue with the red,
you get like an encrypted scroll, and then you go to a mage and say like, "Hey, I'll tip you a gold to like decrypt this." Maybe you get something completely shitty, like it's arcane missiles, and you're a rogue. Like, oh, I'm never gonna fucking use this. Well, maybe you get like teleport to Orgrimmar. I'm like, oh, that's fucking sick to have like in my back pocket.
Somebody help me with chat here. What does let warlocks open rune gates mean?
I have no fucking clue. I do not work. I'm not a warlock player.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're talking about. I think they're using a term from another game, like not, or unless it's like a retail thing.
Borg said he made it up.
All right, Borg, tell us what your idea for that is. Like, tell us what a rune gate would be, because what I think while you're typing it, what I think of when you say a rune gate is I think of a gate spell in Ultima Online, and I was in a like early in Ultima Online before I actually became a PK, which is player killer. Before I was a Dreadlord, I was a defender of the weak because I got my ass handed to me for like the first 2 months I played that game until I learned how macros worked. And then target last target. That was another huge thing. But yeah, until I learned how to play the game, I got destroyed. So I joined a guild called Dark Empire, and we were basically a PK hunter guild. And so what we would do is in Ultima Online, you could mark a rune with very low majory skill. You could mark a rune, and then you could recall to that rune, and it would be anywhere in the map. You just would have to mark it at some point there. But big, like, tough mages could cast a portal. So when we would get a report, and this was before Ventrilo or anything, we used MIRC for our chat program, so we could all talk at the same time in guild, and then we used ICQ for DMs. And in MIRC, someone would say PK's spotted outside Distard. So we would be all called to recall to New Jerusalem Bank. Then from there, we'd have like 40 of us, and then one person would cast portal to Distard, and then we'd all go through the portal, and then we would just like 40 people would come out on these 5 or 10 PKs and just murder them, right?
That's fucking
and
awesome.
We were a kill squad. It was so cool, dude. I can't even explain how cool it was. But that's what I'm thinking about with your rune gate thing, is that it's like we're coming in hard and fast type of deal. And you get a bunch of people and they can all go through at once, like in a raid, and just
so it'd be like a
boom.
Hearthstone you can kind of drop anywhere you feel like kind of thing. Is that what I'm understanding it as?
Yeah. It's like you mark the spot. Like, okay, think about Okay, so think about how when you get your Hearthstone set, every time you use it, you're literally pointed this. I just learned this recently. You're literally pointed the same direction that you were when you first set your hearth. Like, you could set your hearth where you're looking out the door. And then every time you hearth, you're looking out the door instead of looking at the innkeeper. This is something new I just learned about. Wow.
Yeah.
But like, you can do that any place you want by marking a rune, and then people can use that rune to drop a portal, and then everybody can walk through the portal all at once. So you can just have a huge mass of people come out quickly.
That's a cool idea.
That is kind of cool. Like, that'd be a really cool way to wipe people.
Of that in PvP would be fucking enormous, though, in WoW, because somebody could just do it inside of Orgrimmar on the Alliance, and then just, an entire 40-man raid could just come through and fucking fuck everything up.
Well, see, you wouldn't be allowed to mark runes inside the major cities. Like, if you were the wrong faction. In Ultima Online, there wasn't factions like that. Like, so... that didn't matter. So the faction system, you'd have to have rules.
I do like that idea. I think we have a couple ideas, but we're also not developers. So
yet they're gonna hire.
Yeah.
They're gonna hire us. We're the future.
We're gonna get some.
They did hire Cy Reed. He's a former guest on the show multiple times. So I mean,
oh, did they? That's cool.
We're gonna get some DMs on LinkedIn this coming week. I'm like, hey, I heard you on the Warcraft Reloaded podcast. So we're talk.
The devs do listen to this pod and count.
Oh, I know.
And Countdown to Classic. Like they definitely do. Like I talked to multiple of them at BlizzCon, and the things that they said let me know they weren't bullshitting me. They knew inside jokes from the show. So, and I talked to them too. I mean, it's not a secret. Like that's what's great about the like classic devs is that they do engage in this content. Oh, yeah. They do care. They do listen to this. You know, they might not agree with the things that we say. They might not be able to retort, but they do listen. Right. So,
I mean, like there might be things in code that are like, that's a good idea, but it's impossible because of, you know,
there's games where they're just like, guys, it's not going to happen. Come on.
Let
it go.
Right.
Let it go.
Maybe they're like, fuck, that is a good idea. I hope my boss doesn't hear it because I'd have to fucking code that shit.
Well, and it's like it is very interesting because there is a lot of things, you know, and it's what I've learned from this podcast. Like I think I have a brilliant idea and I say it, and then 7 other people message me and be like, Bob, did you think about this? And I'm like, ooh, exactly. I didn't think about that shit. Okay,
MMO gaming's hard to balance.
We can't. Yep. You know, like, and so what they do is a hard job. And that's why people should really be a lot nicer to them.
Oh, I know. And any developer that might be listening, hope that we on this podcast are not the Reddit hive mind that complains and bitches about goddamn everything.
We definitely aren't. We definitely aren't.
I mean, I am sometimes.
I want to say publicly that I am so appreciative of Season Discovery. I think it's probably the most fun I've had with WoW since I was like literally 8 or 9 years old. Like I'm having such a lot with it. I've made a lot of good friends with it, and you guys are doing a fantastic job.
But you're just playing retail minus.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
But you're just playing retail minus. Yeah. Guys that say that, dude, the moves in retail wasn't the fucking problem. Just letting you know, that wasn't the problem.
Yeah, it still definitely feels like I played some retail recently and stuff, and even Cata feels more like classic than retail feel, right?
Yeah.
So like this still feels like
War Within.
WoW. Yeah, I've done
I've heard so many good things about War Within. I've heard just good after good after good. I haven't heard bad yet.
What I would describe retail as is Diablo as not a top down. You're hack and slashing. You're hack and slashing. You're running through. You're pressing your 4 buttons.
Which a lot of people like that. Yeah, a lot of people like that.
I mean, Diablo is one of the most famous games on the planet Earth for good reason. But that's what WoW is now. You're hack and slashing, and you're pressing your button. You're pressing your 4 buttons.
I haven't heard that take.
Yeah. No, that's 100% what it feels like, and how it's more ARPG, and I've made a Demon Hunter, and it's cool because I'm always. It definitely feels
Demon Hunter's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun as shit. Like you're double jumping, you're gliding, you're like charging, you're slicing and dicing, like you're eye beaming. Like it's ARPG, but it's really fun.
Mobs don't matter at all. They're a different flavor for the same thing that you're gonna just end up cleaving to death.
Yeah, it feels
only bosses matter. Yeah, only bosses. I mean, which is what makes Diablo fun. True.
Not fucking true. In Classic, that's not fucking true. Like, oh, we have like a flame weaver over there. We gotta either sap it or kill it first or kill it last. Like, you know, that completely changes the game. And where retail and Diablo are like, I don't give a fuck what's in this room. I'm gonna press the same 4 buttons. They're all gonna fucking die eventually. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm fine with that in dungeons with 5-man. I think just that would suck in raids and be way too much shit going on the screen at one time, right? Like, like Diablo, I get lost sometimes just in all my shit moving all around everywhere. And I'm like, oh, that was that was my mace that was thrown all the way over there. I'm back over here. Oh, okay, shit. Like,
yeah, there's a lot. I did some dungeons on War with it. I got like 73 right now, and I don't know. I do like the slower pace of classic. Like, I mean, it's just I'm EverQuest.
I like it too,
like,
dude.
I'm a classic guy, but like the dungeons was just so quick. That it was fun, but I was like, it didn't feel like any like soul.
Well, that's go
ahead, Bob. No, you go.
Sure. Okay, so that was one of the biggest things when I came back in 2019 to Classic. I was so ready to be like, oh, I'm the guy that actually did it back in the day. These guys are going to think I'm so fucking cool. And what did they think? This fucking boomer. He has no idea. He hasn't played one private server. This fucking moron. I can't believe this guy. Shut the fuck up, Bob. Nobody cares that nobody was engineers back in the day. We don't care. We don't care. Shut up.
You know, do you have any idea how hard the current retail boss is in conjunction to what any boss in Classic or Season Discovery is? It's bananas how much harder shit is.
But
so let's be like, oh yeah, I killed this back in the day. Like, yeah,
I would beg to differ with you though. Like, that's the whole thing that people don't get. Like, back when I was killing bosses, 95% of the people were on dial-up. And had 3 CRT monitors and had computers that were basically like a toaster compared to our fucking phones now. Like, you know, and so it was actually, I think, tougher because there was a lot more like a lot of people came from different games and did not understand even the tank healer DPS like thing. So
the mechanic of
it was a ton of teaching and learning and no Wowhead, no YouTube. You had ThoughtBot.
Yeah, ThoughtBot.
You had Tank Spot. Was it Tank Spot?
Maybe.
Fuck. It was that, and then Ion, or I guess you're supposed to say Ian, but it's spelled Ion. Ion's Guild. But like, dude, that was literally it. So like, it was tough in a different way, right? And it was 40 people, and it was a lot.
Had to go first person and like look at the floor because their computers couldn't handle.
But now, like retail, it's more like Twitch reaction based difficulty, right? Rather than the other things. But yeah,
like every 35 seconds,
so hold
everybody's gonna get a seed, and you got to run out with a seed, and you got to soak the seed after it explodes, and then now you need to run away from the things that are crossing across the screen, and like it's like absolutely fucking madness. And
so is it more like fucking temple?
Okay, but hold on. I didn't get to like the whole.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the whole reason I was bringing this up was because of time and chill, right? And when I came back to Classic, we were going run, speed, pull, blah, blah, right? And what I had remembered from vanilla was pull the boss, prog, work on it, then everybody talks for 10 minutes while we're rezzing and getting back about how we can do it differently the next time to succeed. And then in Classic 2019, it's just like go. And I'm like, ah!
You would love my guild. You would love our guild. If you like talking in between pools, you would love my guild.
You guys are the fucking aces of that shit.
Yeah. It was just a whole just boom, like, whoa, okay. Yeah,
the way we played MMO changed.
I'm way out of the loop here. I need to go fast. Shit. But yeah, we do fast now in our guild, but we let people talk. We ask to clear comms at times when we need to, but mostly everybody has a good time.
Purposes at this time, you know, like
yep.
I think the only time we're really clearing comms is like loot purposes, like unless something's really
because you guys are having good conversation, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing the loot. I really should just like chill and just let the conversation go, and then be like, all right, now we're doing loot.
No, well, I've been asking you to do the loot.
I know,
so.
But like that's the whole like move, hurry. And I'm just not a huge fan of.
Yeah, a lot of people want, unfortunately.
And so I do what
I'm
people
pressured
want
every day.
Yeah, I do it
every day. They're like, go back, go pull, and like, oh, man, I'm not getting started on it.
Yeah,
I feel
it
like they
sucks,
kind
dude.
of
It
want
sucks.
it, and then they
It
don't.
sucks.
Like, they kind of want it, but then they enjoy it. Like,
Oh.
I think our best raids are the raids where
It's
things
fast.
don't go wrong. We're fast, but we're having a good time, right? Like, that's the difference. Is like, if we're pulling quickly and things are going wrong and people are, talking and stuff, then yeah, people hate that, right?
I fucking hit the mic.
Oh
100%.
god, cheese bags in chat is like, we clear comms when dogs need to be looted.
Oh yeah,
just to let you guys know. Okay, so I did a little something this last week. Like, people have been skipping on looting the dogs. So we were at the start of the raid. Nobody looted the dogs. Everybody's moving on, and then I just had to stop it. I was like, all right, stop, guys. We're all gonna make this a fun little project. We're all gonna walk back to the dog, and you can get underneath the dog, and you can, nobody will know that you're the one that had to loot the dog. Just go loot the freaking dog.
That is the call you
Gribble,
made.
Gribble got called out.
I called that. No, we're stopping 15 yards before the dog, so the person needs to walk forward to loot it, and everybody is gonna know in name and shame.
Well, yeah, but
Right.
I
To
made
be
us
fair-
stop pulling trash. I was like, we're all gonna walk back into the group. We're gonna
Be fair.
It did.
there
Everybody
is-
looted dogs after that. Like, they
Okay.
were like, okay,
All
you're
I'm saying-
serious.
Nothing gets more annoying than having to loot everything to not be able to loot anything. Like, that's the most annoying thing, is that
Well, what the
everything's
dog
fucking
doing?
glowing.
Well, what the dog
Everything's
doing?
glowing. So why am I looting everything when I open up the loot and it's red because Bob has to fucking
I
loot it?
don't know how that's not just like a reflex. Like, oh, there's shiny. I need to click. Like, that's just like how I
mean,
do.
I do, but it annoys me.
Well, I did point out during the raid, I know, guys, this is a bitch because I've been on your side before and looted, and you can't loot anything. I get that, but we need you to do it, guys. And and then the dogs were looted, lickety split after that. And then I believe it was cheese bags. I think is cheese bags Poke, or is he Rune?
I don't remember.
Because it was Poke that asked for. I think
he's Torun, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he's Torun. Yeah. I think it was Poke that was like, I'll pay 5 gold per dog if Bob doesn't say loot your dogs. And I pointed out, I was like, no, this is the whole thing, like back in high school when you're on a team and somebody does something wrong on your sports team and everybody has to run bleachers for the next half an hour. And then that's one of the best ways to get people to do everything for each other is to punish everybody with annoying shit. And
I was about to be like, yeah, nobody's allowed to use the water elementals to teleport. You have to walk if we're literally going to be running
worse. I could be a dick and just be like, guys, loot your fucking dogs. Do you freaking morons? 50 DKP minus, you idiots.
Right, yeah.
It's a funny thing, so I feel like we did it best.
We obviously are saying it in jest. Like, we're not serious. We're not going to kick anybody over this fucking shit. Like,
no, I even had
if I had the power, I would fucking kick you.
You would kick me? All right, good luck.
But what about the resto pots?
Wasn't looting their dogs.
Gribble? Yeah, sorry, Gribble. You heard it here first.
Every time every time I see somebody, I'm like, making an example out of you. Get the fuck out of here.
Mel wants to kick you. This is just an excuse.
I like Gribble.
Oh, I love Gribble too. He's my homie.
If you get kicked, Gribble, and come to my guild, we'll take it.
You can't have
We have a hard time with the dogs anyways. Yeah, we'll take anybody. I didn't even know about the dogs till like last week.
You're on Horde? We'll take you.
Someone was like,
if you're on Horde, we'll take you.
We'll still take you.
We'll have an orc.
Hide your grandma, hide your kids, hide your wife. They loot dogs everywhere out here.
They loot dogs everywhere. Can I pet that dog?
What about the dog, though? What about the dog? All right.
What is it for? Just skinning?
Yeah. The Corehound leather is
Corehound leather. Yeah. But like the poor Skinner guy has to stand back there until some asshole loots it, right?
Yeah.
And like he wants to go do stuff with the group, and he's like, guys,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just like.
I do think that's a difference, though. Like that's the difference between like moving quickly and wanting everybody to loot, right? Because like half the time the dog dies behind a lot of the melee, right? So the melee just keep moving because we want to keep pulling, we want the raid to keep going, and then they have to look back, see if it's glowing, make sure Bob's looted so they don't run back for no reason. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to be the guy holding the raid up because then you're afraid you're gonna get everyone mad at you and stuff. So you just I agree.
Like as a healer, I just stand in the back and then I just loot everything as I'm walking forward. It's very easy for me.
But like, so a lot of times the dog is just looted and it's totally fucking fine. But there are sometimes the scenario that you explained right now, Mel, happens, and we just say like, hey, this dog needs to be looted. All you have to do is spin your camera, see if it's still you, and then run back. There's no shame in that. It's when we had to literally fucking stop raid and be like, guys, we're fucking serious now. Loot the goddamn dog.
But it did like the walking everybody walking back literally worked. Like we didn't have to like, and also I think Poke.
I don't think we've gotten any positive reinforcement.
I'm pretty sure
your dogs,
Poke's pointing out, and then me pointing out the like high school sports scenario, I think helped a ton. Because we didn't have to say it one time after that. It was done. Right? And that, and my just saying loot your dogs was not working. So we had to do something else. And it
modify your intervention. If you could increase your positive praise statements, though, that might help too. Like, hey, great job looting your dogs, guys. You're doing so fantastic.
Good job.
We're having so much fun here because everybody's looting their dogs.
I will make sure to do that next week, Mel.
What about the dog, though?
Now people are going to think it's sarcastic.
What the dog doing?
I'll preface it with Mel wanted me to do this, and I wanted to prove positive reinforcement to this guild because I think we needed it. We've only had 2 Thunderfears and 2 Hand of Rags. We obviously haven't enough positive reinforcement.
Not from looting the dogs. We didn't get those. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing in it for them. All that's in it for them is that they have to walk and go loot them. So.
But I think we're yapping about our own raid now. So,
I think that's everybody's raid. Let's be fair.
Like I was saying, I had to deal with that for the first time. I had to stop the raid and be like, guys, somebody loot that fucking dog because this guy's getting pissed. Like he's been slashing. He's like, loot the dog, and it's just like spamming it, and no one's doing it. And it's like, okay, hold on.
And they just don't think about the fact that he's standing there waiting to do it. And you're just not.
Many people are like, oh, it couldn't be me. They look around like, oh no.
And we can put it back on Blizzard too. Blizzard, if there's no fucking loot on there, make it skinnable. How many times they go loot the dog and they loot nothing? They just have to do the interaction. Why?
Yep.
Spaghetti code.
We lost we lost an Ani skin because of that exact interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost some Ani scales because of that. But as far as I think we're done, guys. I think
so.
I think we've kicked butt. Yeah, I think we've got a crazy long episode, and I think we've kicked butt.
And thanks, Bad, for coming again, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right, well,
it's awesome.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. We want your input, your WoW stories. You can send those to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the Discord, interact with any of us, if you'd like to get any of our links for anything, it's warcraftreloaded.com. For Rested XP guides, it's warcraftreloaded.com/restedxp. And how can you help the podcast? Tell your guild about the podcast. Tell tell everybody you talk to about the podcast. Like if they like gaming, tell them about the podcast. Like that's the best way to help us. You could leave us ratings and ratings on both Spotify and iTunes. You can leave us reviews on iTunes. You can hit that bell and leave a comment on YouTube. You can join our Patreon for ad-free episodes. And yeah, that's everything for us. Mel, where can we find you?
You can usually find me on this podcast or on Crusader Strike, where everybody will be. So if you guys message Bob more than me, I will riot.
Everybody. Yeah.
Or apparently next to the dog, waiting for them to be looted.
Yeah. Everybody. Mel's on Crusader Strike. All right, Killnine, where can we find you?
I'm going to start off by hating how much that worked for you.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if that was going to end well. That ended.
Yeah, that just worked out way too well. So I do not really have any socials, and nor do I stream. However, I do lead Blazzinbob's group on Wednesday nights. So tune into Blazzinbob if you want to hear more of me. Message me at Killnine when everybody inevitably is on Crusader Strike, who is a PvP player. Yeah.
And he's often hanging out and happy to talk to chat in my normal streams too. So,
right.
Yep. So hang out there. And BatGasm, where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/BatGasm.
No YouTube though, huh?
No, I do. I just don't do a lot on it.
What about your cartoons?
They just take a long time.
But are they on YouTube?
They're on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, well,
they're on YouTube.
Come on, pimp it.
YouTube, I don't even remember my handle. I think it's BatGasm TTV. So yeah, okay, YouTube/BatGasm TTV.
Guys,
but
I'm gonna make him give us the links. They're gonna be in the show notes and in the YouTube notes, so you guys can check it out. I'm excited to check it out after the show here, so I hope you guys are too. We'll have all of those links in the notes, and you can find me on Twitter at Blazzin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitch at Blazzinbob _. And yeah, we're gonna get out of here, guys.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
Everybody.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
That's super fun. Anytime, I would love to do it again ever. So.
All right, guys, we're out. See you next week.
What you wish for.
Be good to one another, guys. Good night.
100%.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.